A pleasant good evening and welcome to Antamarino Stadium on the campus of Gateway High School in Monroeville, Pennsylvania for this non-conference matchup between the visiting Woodland Hills Wolverines and the homestanding Gateway Gators. Both of these teams 1-0 on the season. The Gateway Gators come off of an impressive home win last week against the defending 6A state champion Mount Lebanon Blue Devils. Meanwhile, Woodland Hills got a victory. Not a road game, a neutral site game, but a big win for Woodland Hills nonetheless. They were able to hold on and get a victory quite a long way from home out in Chambersburg.
Yeah, taking on York William Penn in the Peach Bowl showcase out at Chambersburg High School. They went up 28-8 going into the half, surrendered second half points, almost lost the game. It was a big goal line stand. They were able to get 4 consecutive stops against a talented running back, and that sort of proved the mettle of this Wolverines team. And so head into a big rivalry game tonight. 2 schools with a lot of athletes. Should be a really great showcase tonight here in the non-conference.
Adam Gusky, Vince Russo on the call for you here on the NFHS Network and the Trib Live High School Sports Network. And now we're still a little bit away from kickoff, though both teams are out on the field, so we may get a little bit of an earlier start than we had anticipated. Woodland Hills, they wear their road white uniforms with the turquoise lids, black ears and stripes. Near sideline, Gateway in all blacks. Gold numerals, gold trim on the pants, black helmets with gold Gators in cursive on both sides of the lids as we are underway in Monroeville, PA. And it'll be Inez Jordan on the return for the Gateway Gators, heading from right to left across the field. He'll cross the 15 and head his way out towards the 17-yard line before being brought down. A few Wolverines there on the stop, including Drayshawn Sanders.
Wolverines, only team in the Northeast Conference last week to secure a victory. Also the only team that played a non-WPIAL squad that came away with a win. On the other side, the Gators got to be feeling good after taking down the defending 6A state champs and a Bob Palco coach team. Coach Hall said in the Trib earlier this week, anytime you beat a team that's coached by Bob Palco, it's a feather in the cap for the team. And now we get to see if this offense can live up to the billing. That strong start from last week. Left some points on the field, but really looked good passing the ball.
Birch in the pistol with Reynolds behind him. Play action, toss to that right-hand side, and as he looks for Malachi Moore down the field on the seam route. The pass a little bit too strong, but it seemed like Malachi Moore didn't reach out as far as he could. And a lot of that had to do with the fact he had a Wolverine closing in on him.
Yeah, definitely not only heard the footsteps, but saw it there right in the peripheral coming at him. That ball sailed just a little bit, and Brad Birch talked about that. I mean, the highlights, 293 yards, 3 touchdowns, the 1 interception last week. But he talked about when he was interviewed post-game that there were some clear and evident mistakes he's got to clean up.
Play action again as Birch drops back, rolls to the left, setting up the screen, picks up a couple of blocks, and here comes Reynolds across the 35 to the 40 where he is shoved out of bounds by Cruz McMillan. And that's more than enough for a Gateway first down out towards the 44-yard line.
Adam, we were just talking off air before the start of the game. We were getting some folks asking us how they thought tonight was going to go, and you know, one of these impact players is Reynolds and what he's able to do catching the football. Had the beautiful one-handed catch last week, and anytime they get him open in a bubble screen, he's a candidate to break loose.
Toss to the right to Jordan. He retreats after catching the football, trying to break it to that far sideline. And initially he would have been near the midfield straight. Instead, they're going to say his forward progress is stalled at the 48-yard line, so it'll be a pickup of 3 from the 45 to the 48.
I like the Gators going back to the dink and dunk early here in this game. A couple shots down the field, but last week when they put that 8-play, 80-yard drive together that salted the game against Mount Lebanon, when they really looked at their best, was that short passing game, just getting their athletes into open space by themselves.
Draw a handoff, and Jaquan Reynolds has enough for the Gateway first down to the 45-yard line. A jersey tug pulls him down as Cruz McMillan in on the tackle for the Woodland Hills Wolverines.
Love the draw there. They've done a good job setting up the play action early in the game, pulling that ball back out of the bread basket on the RPO, and that time they just let Reynolds ride with it. A nice seam there, and does such a good job just lowering the shoulders and going north-south as quickly as possible.
Stacked pistol, and Gateway again to the ground as they go up the gut. And Jaquan Reynolds is brought down again by Cruz McMillan. Also in on the stop, Andre Smith. Pickup of a half dozen brings up second down and 4 inside of the 40 at the 39.
Really good sign here early. Gators struggled last week, just 36 yards rushing on 23 carries, and I think some of that was negated from some sack yardage. Birch took a few longer sacks last week rolling out of the pocket, but they, especially in the second half, just could not get a consistent rushing attack together. Good start here on these first 2 carries.
2nd and 4, option to the left, pitch to Jordan, and he is met in the backfield and brought down. He tried to reverse his field going back to the right, but nowhere to go as Thomas Drake makes the tackle for the visiting Wolverines.
Gators had a lot of success with this pitch play last week against Mount Lebanon, but a really good job there by the Wolverines out on the edge, not letting anyone get outside, breaking down and giving Jordan nowhere to go, and especially as he tried to cut back there, a good job taking that away as well.
Power pistol again. Off of play action, Birch settles his feet, tosses it down the middle to Malachi Moore, who leaps up inside of 2 white jerseys and makes this catch. Tackle made by Justin Perdue. And a nice catch there for Moore, who couldn't pull one in early.
Boy, take a look at that replay there. The effort while he's getting sort of contorted there on the tackle to use that one arm to just press that against the shoulder pads. What an athletic play.
To the ground go the Gators. This time the ball comes loose. They're going to say, though, that the ball carrier, Jaquan Reynolds, was down prior to the ball coming loose. And it'll be 2nd down and about 7 as we take another look at this one. Yeah, Reynolds appeared to be down before the ball squirted out.
That's interesting. It definitely looked like it. But it was interesting. That ball looked like it got ripped away. I don't know if it was sort of in limbo there before it popped out at the end when he hit the ground, but no replay here in high school. They'll play on a break there for the Gators.
Power pistol yet again for the Gators as they'll run the option to the left. Birch, he's going to keep it himself, spinning his way forward, hit hard at around the 20-yard line, and as he is shoved back, leading the charge for Woodland Hills, Cruz McMillan, also in on the stop, Thomas Drake.
Saw Birch turn on the Jets a few times this past week. Good job there with the spin move, and then takes a little bit of a hit there, but a good gain there to make it 3rd and manageable. Gators have done a good job at staying ahead, staying on schedule here offensively.
Trips to the right this time for Gateway. As Birch rolls to his right, tosses complete Inez Jordan. He's inside of the 15 to the 10 as the flag is down, and Jordan slides through a tackle and is brought down at around the 8, but there's going to be a flag in all likelihood. Dallas Harper guilty of holding downfield against the Gators.
Yeah, it's tough. At some point, you just got to let go and allow your receiver to take the gain they already have and try to make a move for more. That's a tough break there for the Gators. Just as I had talked about how they've stayed ahead of schedule, and last week there were a lot of 3rd and long, 4th and long situations for the Gators. The 3rd and 1's about to be a little bit longer now because of that holding call.
Looked pretty clean there. I'm not sure why there was a hold until that jersey tug right at the end. But overall, that seemed to be a clean downfield block, especially since the tackle happened right there.
Yeah, he let go, and that player did end up making the tackle, and so that seems like a little bit of over officiating there. But luckily, looking at the gain as it was with the 10-yard penalty, that's still going to move the chains at him, and so the Gators still get the 1st down, which is really all that ultimately matters, but you hate to back yourself up anytime, especially with how in rhythm this offense has been thus far.
Birch off of play action, looking right, tossing back to the left, trying to set up a screen for Reynolds. Nice block in the open field, allows Reynolds to get inside of the 20 to around the 18-yard line. Brooks with a nice block, shutting down a Wolverine on the near perimeter.
Yeah, that was Noah Hutcherson, and the Wolverines want to call on that, but looks pretty clean. Brooks is, he had some holding calls last week against him, but he's a steady hand there, a senior down on the offensive line, and this is a group that had a lot of confidence coming into the season. Seemed like in the second half they really found their groove against Mount Lebanon. See if they can continue to push people around.
Handoff, Reynolds hesitates, now drives his way to the 15 before he is driven back. Tackle made by Justin Perdue, also in on the stop, Thomas Drake.
Another good push there. This line brings a lot back from last season. You got guys with a lot of size. Barron Fowler at 5'9", 235. Chase Gabriel, the sophomore, at 6'1", 275. Jake Santo, 6'3", 260. Louis Douglas at 5'11", 240. And Brooks there at 6'2", 255.
3rd down, handoff. Reynolds, he'll get close to the 1st down marker, but will be brought down a yard shy at the 11. The line to gain was the 10.
Yeah, just got tripped up there. Looked like there might have been a second surge coming from Reynolds. They're going to keep the offense on the field here. Cole Plaskin looks like he's back, number 46, the place kicker for the Gators.
So 4th and 1 is motion, and now the motion man's going to step under center, and that's Remy Bose, who takes the snap, drives his way inside of the 10 to the 9, so he picks up 2, more than enough for the Gateway first down, where it'll be first down and goal.
How's that for a unique play call? I don't know that I've seen that one before. I've seen the sort of shovel pass to a man in motion, or a jet sweep, but yeah, Remy Bose, who has made a name for himself on the defensive side of the ball, plays tight end here on offense. Didn't get a whole lot of action last week. Able to just take that and push forward. I like that. Not having Birch under there, not putting him in harm's way. That's a smart play call. I really like that.
Shotgun now, Reynolds motions to an empty set. Birch looks right, then back to the left-hand side where the pass is complete. And it's Leonard Sherrod wiggling his way down to the 5-yard line. A pickup of 4 brings up 2nd and goal at the 5.
A good job by the Wolverines not getting fooled there. You'll see Birch sort of looked off that at first. Looked like he was going to go to Reynolds. The fake, turns his head back around, gets it to Jordan. But Wolverines, they've been hitting some folks too. There's some big hits here on defense on this first drive.
Birch, draw, into the end zone for a Gateway touchdown. Just a hitch to the right and took off to the left, and into the end zone goes Birch with that deceptive speed.
He does. He has some wheels, and we saw that last week. He broke a couple downfield, and that's a new wrinkle in his game that we started to see in the second half of last season, and he's improved on it this season thus far here in the early going, and 6 on the board. And here the Gators here in a rivalry game after an emotional win last week. They went down the field, made no doubt about it. Very efficient first drive.
Snap a little high, but the holder gets it down, and the kick is up and in for Plaskin. And 5:25 to play, first quarter. Gateway has claimed a 7-0 lead over the Woodland Hills Wolverines. Well, Vince, last night, 2 teams played at Acrisure Stadium. The West Virginia Mountaineers took a 70-mile trip for the backyard brawl. The Woodland Hills Wolverines took the 5-mile trip from Turtle Creek for this version of the backyard brawl. These teams have been playing for the past 30-plus years since Woodland Hills was founded back in 1987, and there have been some classic matchups going all the way back to when Gateway was number 3 in the nation in 1987 rather, and Woodland Hills upset the Gators on a Saturday afternoon in Turtle Creek in front of 10,000, and you move all the way up to last season where Gateway defeated Woodland Hills with a very strong second half.
Yeah, 40-21 decision. Deontay Williams wasn't enough, a one-man show for the Wolverines. Birch and company were able to put together a big second half and pull away in that one, which was a conference matchup last year. These two teams no longer conference foes. Woodland Hills was originally slated to play in 3A due to enrollment, but they're playing up at 5A. And Adam, you talk about these rivalries and the proximity. We're seeing that in the crowd tonight. There's still a line at 2 different entry points well outside of the stadium. There's still folks just trying to get into this game. We're already halfway through the first quarter. It's an electric atmosphere. And both teams have a good showing fan-wise.
Kicking off 2 minutes early certainly didn't help matters with getting any extra folks into Antamarino Stadium, as this end-over-end kick will carry down to the 5-yard line. A nice return here for William Smith, and he will be met at around the 30-yard line and dragged down. Tackle on the play by Derek Selby.
Selby was sort of the last line of defense there. I think if he's unable to make that tackle, you're looking at a house call right there on the return. And Wolverines had 2 kick return touchdowns called back last week as we take a look at the replay. And yes, Selby able to wrap up here. He doesn't get that. I think that's a house call. That's 6 points on the board for the Wolverines. So heads up play, good angle there, getting the tackle and preventing the touchdown.
Austin Wells, the quarterback, in the pistol for the Woodland Hills Wolverines. Twins to either side, motion man from right to left. And the Wolverines will go to the ground. Nowhere to go for Elijah Nesby, the tailback on that play.
Boy, oh boy, Remy Bose. That's a bad man right there. He just bowls over the ball carrier. He really came on last season, 78 tackles, was such a difference maker, all conference selection along with Brooks and Birch. And they're just, taking the wind out of the sails right on the first play. They're sticking the running back just 1 yard down the field.
Trips left, one receiver right. Wells in the shotgun this time, tossing to that left-hand side. The pass is complete over there to Devon McClinton, but he has nowhere to go because the Gators surge at him and bring him down a few yards in the backfield. And as Jordan leads the charge for the Gateway defense, it'll be a loss of 5, bringing up 3rd down and 14.
Great open field tackle there, wrapping up, driving the receiver backwards. Now you got 3rd and long. Wolverines are behind the sticks. It's a passing situation. That front 4 can just sort of pin their ears back, try to get after the quarterback here.
So again, 3rd and 14 with trips to the right, one receiver to the short side left. Pressure and wrapped and sacked is the QB, Austin Wells. Brooks is there, also in on the tackle, Louis Douglas. And like you said, pin the ears back, and there went the Gateway defenders.
And that's a strength for them. We talked about, it's the same guys that are playing on the other side of the ball offensively. Those guys in the trenches, they have all the confidence coming into this season. They talked about how they came up short in some of those big games with Penn Trafford, Pine Richland, Thomas Jefferson. They said they want to be those guys this year that go out and attack and control the line of scrimmage. And thus far, through this first quarter and last week against Mount Lebanon, they've been that team.
Jacob Mraz to punt this one away, and a flag comes in. Gateway is offsides. That's going to cost the Gators 5 yards, and we're going to see another punt.
Little things that the Gators are going to need to continue to clean up here. There were a few too many penalties last week, and now one on each side of the ball on these first possession. One on special teams, holding call against the offense, and just little things that change the momentum of games. And it's been all Gators here in the early going. You don't want to give anything or give any momentum away that you've secured here early in this one.
4th and 14 now as the snap a little high. The Gators were in there, and some contact to the punter as this punt will be down at around the 47-yard line. And let's see what the referee has to say here.
Well, Adam, it's super disappointing. WPIAL, who's been a standout for the Gators, just bowled over the punter. And this will likely end up being a 1st down for the Wolverines, and they'll put their offense back on the field. I mean, it's just inexcusable. A senior's got to know better.
This looks like this may be just running into the kicker because the punt unit is still out there for Woodland Hills.
Oh, that's a break for sure for the Gators because WPIAL just sort of steamrolled the kicker there. And you just can't do that. Got to know better than that. Again, these little mistakes. I mean, you might be able to get away with it in some games, but big-time rivalry games, playing a tough schedule this year, teams coming down from 6A into your conference, you've got to really mind these things if you're one of those teams that a lot of people are projecting to make a deep run in 5A.
Again, Mraz is the punter. High snap. He gathers it in and gets away a better punt this time. A wobbler to that far sideline that takes a bounce in favor of the Wolverines. And the return man, Chris Livesey, gets away from it. And it'll be 1st down and 10 for the Gateway Gators at the 31-yard line.
Not a whole lot of a gap between that first drive and now the second for the Gators. See if they continue to try and establish the ground game here. Reynolds really was the linchpin for a lot of that drive. Efficient on the ground, caught a couple passes, and even when they didn't go his way, just the threat of that RPO hinting that you might give it to him. They looked off him on a couple passing routes, pump fake to him. You got a guy that dynamic, you got to account for him every single play, and it just commands so much attention from the defense. See if they look his way here to start things off on this drive.
Shotgun with twins stacked to either side. Toss to that far side, a wide receiver pass that broke down very quickly. A lateral pass from the quarterback, Birch, over to Harper. Harper tossed it down there, but the Wolverines were all over Harper long before he was able to get rid of that football.
Yeah, he was just trying to send that one up, and he's lucky that Reynolds was far enough downfield that the DB was pulled that way with him. I mean, if that ball hangs up for another second or two, that's an interception, and the Wolverines are going back the other way already in Gators territory.
Pistol formation this time, play action, toss to Jordan, cuts it back inside. A flag is down against the Gateway Gators as Inez Jordan bobbled the football as he took it inside of Wolverines territory and brought down at around the 43, but this one's going to come back because of a block by Malachi Moore.
Yeah, frustrating. I mean, they sealed a nice avenue for Jordan there, but just held on a little too long, got a little grabby there, and now this one's going to come back 10 yards from the spot of the foul.
Holding on the Gators.
So flag against Gateway is going to cost them all the way back to the 24. So a loss of 7 ultimately. Hand off to Reynolds this time. He'll wiggle his way forward, across the 30, out to around the 33-yard line.
Stop by 16. Moore. Third down.
So that brings up 3rd down and 9 on that pickup of 8 for Jaquan Reynolds.
See if they try and stretch the field here a little bit. Haven't really seen them take a deep shot. They certainly tried to design one with the double pass there going out to Jordan, trying to get him to connect with Reynolds down the field. They also haven't looked Harper's way yet. Wouldn't be surprised if they take a shot downfield to him right here.
Birch off of play action, tosses. Oh, Gator was wide open, and Remy Bowes, it just caromed off of his chest and fell to the turf, incomplete. And looks like the Gators are going to have to punt this one away from their own 32-yard line.
Bowes just got his head around just a split second too late, and he just didn't have enough time to react to the ball that was already in progress getting to him, and he's going to be frustrated over that one. Hopefully he can channel it on the defensive side of the ball here.
William Smith is the deep man as it will be punted away by Birch, and Smith catches it on a fly at around his own 30, lost his footing, got tripped up by the 40, and he'll be down at the 41-yard line.
That's a tough break for the Wolverines. You can tell even just off the jump when he gets the ball in his hands. He's electric, he's got speed, he's shifty, had the nice kick return. Like I said last week, the Wolverines had 2 would-be return touchdowns called back on penalties, so that's a strength of this club. Anytime you forfeit an opportunity to fully get that return in motion because you get a guy losing his footing, it's frustrating. But still really great field position for the Wolverines. A chance for them to get back into this one, nod this one up.
Tim Bostard and the Woodland Hills Wolverines need to use a timeout as they come off of the sidelines and immediately have to use a timeout here. Well, Vince, thus far it has been the Gateway Gators offense with one great drive and one very stagnant drive, and then that was compounded by the fact that, not a great punt, and there's been a couple of good returns by the Woodland Hills special teams unit.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly looked the part in that initial drive, methodically went down the field, saw a lot of the same short passing game that was successful in that second half against Mount Lebanon. But, the Wolverines, they've got athletes. I think they're a team that people might be sleeping on a little bit in 5A here, and they've shown earlier they've got guys, they've got athletes that can go out there and compete even for a school that's playing up from a smaller enrollment standpoint. And so this is their opportunity here. I mean, you got the ball, the 41-yard line to start. Both teams have had some self-inflicted damage with penalties. If they can keep those out of the way, they might be able to put something together here.
Bunch formation for Woodland Hills as the Wolverines are going to go to the ground, and it's Brandon Jones, the ball carrier, running to his right, brought down a yard deep in the backfield. And Vince, we always talk about the fact that Woodland Hills has a ton of skilled guys, athletic guys, players like that, but you can't forget about players like Kellen McDonough, the 6'5" senior who's been playing since he was a freshman. He's a Division I type of player. They also have a young man on the defensive side of the ball in Mawan Rose, 6'6", 300 pounds. He looks like a college player already, probably going to play at the Division I level in a couple of years as well. Play action. Wells pressured late. He's wrapped and brought down. Wells took a while to make his decision, and that allowed Ricariel to knife through blockers and make the stop. A couple of yards deep in the backfield. It'll be a loss of 4, bring up 3rd down and 15.
Yeah, just waited too long to do anything with that one or to make the decision to try and escape and take off with the legs there. And the Gators, they're going to make it tough. They have a great pass rush. They're not going to give you a whole lot of time. They're not going to allow you to feel comfortable back there in the pocket. So you've got to be decisive. And you wonder if Wells, throwing 2 second-half interceptions last week, I wonder if that plays any factor into the mental side of his game of being decisive with the ball. Might be trying to avoid making mistakes.
Pistol formation this time as Wells pitches it off to Nesby. Nesby wiggling through some traffic. He will drive his way across the initial line of scrimmage, picking up about 8 on the play before being driven back by Louis Douglas.
Nesby, the backup, 15 carries, 127 yards, and 3 touchdowns last week in relief for the injured Brandon Jones, who's returned here tonight.
So we've played 12 minutes of football. Gateway leads Woodland Hills 7-0. It'll be 4th down and 7 for the Wolverines when we return to live action. And this quarter break gives Tim Boston an opportunity to talk strategy here with the ball near midfield. Does he punt the ball away, or does he try to pick up the first down? Of course, if you don't get the first down, you're giving Gateway the ball somewhere near midfield.
Yeah, I mean, your defense made a stop on the last drive. Certainly part of that was due to a drop on the part of the Gators. They had a receiver wide open down the sideline. So there are some doubts there. The Gators offense has looked the part here early on. You might want to be aggressive, try and get yourself back into this one, take advantage of this good field position that you've had. But at the same token, you're only down 7. You don't want to give a short field to the Gators. If I was Tim Bostard, I'd be punting this one.
So again, it's 4th down and 7 with the ball at the 44-yard line. The sticks aren't set right. And they're still not set up properly. So we have a conversation over there on the far side. The line to gain is the 49 inside of Gateway territory. So at least we've got that one right. And now why are the sticks where they are? Anybody see this on the far side of the field? Apparently it's 4th down and a mile instead of 4th down and 7. That's not right either. That isn't right. It's 4th and 7. All right, we're going to get it eventually. Well, this is entertainment. Finally, the official over there is going to get the sticks set. 4th and 7. The line to gain is the 49 side of Gateway territory. Punt formation now for Woodland Hills. It's Mraz, the punter, for the Wolverines. Good snap by the long snapper, McDonough. It's fair caught by Chris Livesey, and it'll be 1st and 10 for Gateway at the 29-yard line.
That we've noticed with the Gators, that they have done a good job on special teams, and with their defense holding as it has, giving up only 6 points total, that they've generally started with really great field position on just about every drive thus far this season.
Twins stacked on either side. Now Gateway motions to trip stacked right. Toss to the near side. It's complete. Dallas Harper drives his way across the 30 and out to the 33-yard line. Pickup of 4 brings up 2nd down and 6.
2nd down.
Stack trips on that side. You're going to stack a lot of defenders there as well. They're able to get a couple quick blocks there, but the Wolverines did a good job getting bodies that direction in a hurry, limiting the impact Harper could have. And he's hard to bring down, but a good job, good form tackle there for the Wolverines.
Pistol again as Jordan will motion to a power pistol. Handoff, Reynolds up the middle. Trying to drive his way past the 45, but won't get any further than the 45 as he's brought down by Mawan Rose. And Rose was the young man we were talking about while the Woodland Hills offense was on the field. Just a huge human being at 6'6", 300.
Yeah, hard to miss him down there. And The Wolverines have some real size there. The Gators have still been pretty effective running the ball here. Let me try it again.
This time it is Birch trying to run his way forward. He'll get across the line of scrimmage all the way out towards the 38-yard line, but that's not enough for the first down, so it'll be 4th down and 1.
Yeah, it didn't fool the Wolverines this time after the touchdown run. They stayed in their lanes and knew where the sticks were and made sure that Birch, even if he did gain a couple yards, wasn't going to be able to get to that 39-yard line. And now Gators have some thinking to do here with a 4th and 1. Still kind of, I wouldn't say deep in their own territory, obviously, but certainly up 7-0, controlling this game so far, especially on the field position battle. I don't know that there's, unless you have a ton of confidence or a play that you're absolutely sure is going to work for you, I'm not so sure you don't put Cole Plaskin out on the field or have Birch pooch punt it again here.
So again, it'll be 4th down and 1. Don Hall and the Gateway staff having a conversation with their offense. Now you have to remember, one issue here is that we've seen Plaskin punt a week ago. We saw Blake Marsh punt, but most of all, Bradley Birch has been punting, and he's been punting out of the shotgun. So if you line him up in the shotgun and things line up the way he likes, he may have the green light to go.
I'm sure that's by design. I'm sure it's meant to freeze that special teams unit up and make them have to consider multiple different options here. You look, they're doing it again. They've got the offense out. He's in the shotgun.
Motion man. Gateway's just going to go traditionally to the ground. Nowhere to go for Jaquan Reynolds. He'll drive his way across the 38, but the line to gain was the 39, and I don't think he got there.
I don't think he did either. And then, yeah, they're going to spot it a yard short. No gain on that one. And I don't love the play call there. I think you try to get the ball wide, get it into the hands of someone like Inez Jordan or Dallas Harper, or even Jaquan Reynolds. But you know, that's a tough front to run against in a situation like that where the Wolverines were expecting it. And now a short field for Woodland Hills, taking over inside the 40-yard line, and they got a chance to make this a tie ball game.
Certainly not an ideal situation for the Gateway Gators. Let's see if Woodland Hills can get some offense going. They haven't done a whole heck of a lot of that through the first quarter and 2 minutes. Austin Wells is the quarterback in the pistol with Brandon Jones behind him. Handoff, Jones running to the right-hand side. He'll be wrapped and brought down in the backfield. Malachi Moore grabbed the jersey and held on long enough to regather his feet and make the stop on Jones.
I mean, I'll say this much, if you're Don Hall, you feel a lot better rolling the dice on 4th and 1 at around your own 40-yard line when you've got a defense that's played this well this early in the season, and it just looks like a unit that's really coalesced and found chemistry right off the bat. A lot of guys coming back with experience, and they really look the part of one of the elite defenses here in the WPIAL.
9:40 to play, second quarter. It'll be Wells rolling to the left, pressured as he releases the football. The intended receiver for Woodland Hills, Isaiah Greer, but pass nowhere near him on the coverage. Leonard Sherrod for the Gateway Gators.
Demetrius Harper, one of the other Harpers for the Gators, did a good job getting across the edge, getting a helmet into the torso of Wells as he let that one go. That pressure influenced that throw a little bit, which was well short. Now 3rd and long once again. Gators have done a good job pushing the Wolverines back and putting them in these 3rd and long situations.
Austin Wells in the pistol with 2 receivers to the near side left. He is going to hand off to Jones. There was a crease for a moment, but that closed up quickly. Big contact between Malachi Moore and Brandon Jones. And Malachi Moore seemed to get the worst of it, though the stop is made well shy of the first down marker at the 36-yard line.
Sure did. Jones using the truck stick there, getting himself downfield. And I have to think this is 4-down territory, and Coach Bostard looking at it as such, so you try and get yourself a chunk there and give yourself a manageable 4th down. It's still a little bit long here at 4th and 8, but you can expand what you do from a play calling standpoint. Don't necessarily have to pass the ball, but I'm anticipating they probably will here.
Austin Wells rolling to his left. He's pressured. Now he'll run to his right-hand side. And he will spin around and toss the ball underhanded forward. They're going to say he is down at the 50-yard line. Not an incomplete pass. Instead, I think the referee's going to say in the grasp. Or is it going to be a fumble to the far sideline? Regardless, there was a flag early on the play. Gateway was all over Austin Wells. Certainly not the play that Woodland Hills wanted to run on 4th and 8.
No, he was able to evade the first would-be tackler here. But then you see, look, 3-4 Gateway Gators just getting past everyone. On the offensive side of the ball, Wolverines just not getting it done. They're not giving Wells any time to be able to get his eyes downfield. He's got to worry about everything that's right in his grill a couple seconds after snapping the ball. And when that's the case, it's going to make it really hard to do anything effectively in the passing game.
Let's see what our referee has to say here.
There are 2 fouls against the offense. Holding, number 50, that penalty's declined. Intentional grounding, number 11. That spot will be a 5-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Loss of down, it'll be Gateway first down.
Gator ball, first down.
So where will Gateway get the ball? 1st and 10 for the Gators inside of Wolverines territory at the 45 after the ball is finally spotted.
Talk about a momentum shift, Adam. Goes from 1st and 10 Wolverines at the Gators 38-yard line. They get a big stop on 4th and 1. Now flipped almost the exact same situation the other way. The Gators drive them backwards in a hurry, get the intentional grounding call. Now they're set up at the 45-yard line with a chance to break this one open a little bit, create some separation on the scoreboard.
2 receivers right, 1 to the far side left. Play action. Birch is going to try to toss it off, but the pass is incomplete. Looking for Remy Bose, the tight end, who's basically an H-back for the Gateway Gators.
Yeah, we've just seen one or two throws a little long. Now this one just a little short. Still getting that chemistry between all the different personnel, all the different pass catchers for the Gators. They certainly have a lot of talented receivers.
Toss to the left-hand side, complete to Jordan. Jordan has the first down and more inside of the 35. They'll mark him down at the 33-yard line as Birch finds Inez Jordan.
Yeah, nice route right up the seam, was able to find some separation. You see him get his head around, find the soft spot in the defense there. Catch, make sure you get the first down, fall forward, well executed.
No Hutcherson in on the tackle for Woodland Hills on that previous play, and a flag is down over on that far sideline. The referee's going to go check with the judge on that side, who had a comedy of errors a few minutes ago with the sticks at the start of quarter number 2.
Offside against the Gators.
So it'll be offsides against Gateway. It's going to cost them 5 yards, pushing them back shy of the 35 to the 38-yard line.
They've certainly done a better job of avoiding some self-inflicted wounds here in the first half, but still a few procedural penalties. You hate to see those in week 1. You know, your first game action in week 0, you get it. You might have some jitters, some things happening. But this is a veteran unit on the offensive line, a veteran offense overall. Frustrating to still see some of these procedural penalties.
So 1st and 15 now for Gateway. Play action. Birch has time. Tosses it to Reynolds. Reynolds hit hard at around the 30-yard line, but he'll hold on to the football. And a nice gain there for the Gateway Gators as Andre Smith makes the stop for the Wolverines.
Boy, good thing that Reynolds was able to catch that and get his shoulder down in a hurry, because he had 2 Wolverines just ready to light him up, and he was able to put himself in a position where he didn't take the full brunt of that, but was able to dish some back out the other way. Got to be careful as a quarterback putting your receivers in those positions.
Power pistol option play, and the handoff is going to go to Reynolds. The Wolverines had Kellen McDonough in the backfield to make that stop. Also in on the stop was Purdue, Justin Purdue, the senior linebacker.
Wolverines have gotten manhandled a little bit on the offensive side of the ball in the trenches, but their defensive line has shown up and made some breakup plays here and really done a good job here of limiting the impact of the Gators ground game after that first drive where they were able to get Reynolds downfield a few times.
So it's 3rd down and 8 for the Gateway Gators with the ball at the 33. The line to gain is the 23. And the flag comes down. It'll be a false start against the Gateway Gators.
Just stuff you can't have happen. You gotta get set. Got to watch the ball if you're a receiver. Got to know the count if you're a lineman. Turning 3rd and 9 to 3rd and 14. Those are just situations that make it that much harder. And we saw some of this last week where the Gators got themselves into some 3rd and 4th and long situations.
Birch off of play action, has all kinds of time. He's going to toss it to Inez Jordan over here on the near sideline. He'll be shouldered out of bounds at the 32-yard line. So that'll make up for that penalty on the previous play. But it still brings up 4th down and 9 for Gateway.
Looked like there might have been some confusion there. There were a couple receivers crossing through the middle of the field. It looked like it was Malachi Moore. Wasn't really running it at full speed. There might have been some confusion about the routes or anticipating the ball coming up and didn't see it come through. All that being said, threw the ball well short of the sticks. You had Harper downfield, but he was covered very, very well. And now you got to see what they're going to do here. They're going to try and pin him deep, or they're going to take a shot here.
Bowes, the motion man. Hard count by Birch. He's going to throw the football on 4th down and about 10. Tosses it off. It's complete. Running to that far sideline is Dallas Harper, but he's got nowhere to go. In fact, he's going to lose a couple of yards on that turnover on downs.
Wolverines defense holds once again.
First down for the Wolverines.
And after that missed connection to Bowes, we haven't seen the Gators really take a shot downfield. You see the Wolverines there, how many DBs they had stacked up. Good 7-8 yards downfield. They were anticipating a short completion there and then just converging on the ball carrier. So well-coached defense there, putting guys in a position to where you're kind of safeguarding those sticks there. I'd like to see the Gators try and stretch the field a little bit more with the vertical passing game as opposed to the short passing game. Wolverines are really clogging up the middle of the field right now there.
Two receivers left, one to the far side right. Odd setup there for Woodland Hills as they had 2 backs to the left-hand side of the quarterback Wells. Nesby is the ball carrier, the 5'10 sophomore. He's got nowhere to go as he's met a yard deep in the backfield and driven down.
Can't say enough about just how well this defense is playing and just how efficient they've been, how physical they've been as the Gators offense still grows, evolves, and gets their feet under them for the season. The defense has carried this team. It's been really impressive to watch.
Shotgun with sidecars to either side of Wells this time. Has time as he looks to the left-hand side. It's going to be a foot race to the near boundary. And Leonard Sherrod stops what could have been a big gainer for Devon McClinton. Instead, it's a gain of just about 3, bring up 3rd down and 8.
Yeah, Sherrod with great speed there, and he needed that to bail himself out because he took a terrible angle to try and make that tackle. And good speed to get to the edge there for the Wolverines for McClinton. But Sherrod able to just reach out, grab the jersey, and pull him down from behind.
2 receivers right, 1 to the near side left. 2 backs stacked to the right-hand side of Wells. Wells going to roll to the right. Has time, now pressure. He'll step forward. Tossing it incomplete as Wells is hit along that far sideline. Slowing it up initially, as I think it was Remy Bowes with the contact over there near the boundary. But Wells was still in the field of play when Remy Bowes got there.
And Bowes did a good job of not hitting him up high. You'll see he goes down, hits him right square in the side there and then the torso area. Didn't hit him low, didn't go up high. It's a textbook good hit on the quarterback, clean hit on the quarterback. So now forces a 4th down situation where the Wolverines going to have to punt this one away.
Shoulder pad right to the flak jacket that Wells was wearing.
For as athletic and fast as Wells in, that rollout has been a death sentence for the Wolverines every time. The Gators have blown up those plays every single time thus far.
Well, speed matches speed, and that's what we've seen thus far from Gateway matching up with the speed that the Woodland Hills Wolverines have as Mraz gets this punt away, and it'll be fair caught by Livesey, and again near the 30, this time at the 31. So Gateway is 69 yards from pay dirt. Trying to double up this lead they have on the Woodland Hills Wolverines, because right now it's 7-0 Gateway with 4:10 to play here in quarter number 2. Gateway scored on their first drive, but they've been held quiet since.
This would be a great opportunity here, Adam, with 4 minutes left. Methodically take your time, get the ball downfield, churn this clock a little bit, get close to halftime. Don't give the Wolverines a whole lot of time if they end up getting the ball back, and put another touchdown on the board. I mean, there's a big difference in the psychology of being up 2 scores as opposed to 1 going into the half, because you're still in that place where the Wolverines make one big play, all of a sudden you got a tie game.
Pistol, Birch, play action. Pass is tipped, and that was nearly that big play you were talking about. There were 3 white jerseys around that pass that was tipped, intended for Inez Jordan.
An athletic secondary. These Wolverines have played really well on the back end of the defense, and defensively overall after that first drive. They're getting pressure on the quarterback. They're blowing things up at the line of scrimmage, and they've got guys that are just incredibly athletic on the back end of that defense that have made things really tough for Birch. He's had to really try and find some tight windows, really fit the ball in there, and that time just a little low on that one.
Play action again. Toss down the left seam, and the pass is complete to Livesey. Livesey reaches up, pulls that one down as he's shouldered to the turf by Matthew Johnson, and that's more than enough for a Gateway first down into Woodland Hills territory at the 48.
Livesey's got great hands. We see him, he's done a great job. We saw some issues last season, the Gators, with whether it was Bodie, Engelke, whoever returning. We've seen over the past couple of years some issues handling the ball. He's sure-handed it. I like them getting the ball into his hands.
Gateway sets up the screen. The Wolverines bite big time on it, and that's more than enough for a Gateway first down as Jaquan Reynolds shakes and bakes his way for a gain of 11 and a Gators first down to the 37.
First down.
Reynolds just such a difference maker, and when they're able to set that up perfectly, he does such a good job of following his blockers, being decisive, cutting, and just turning on the Jets. Great gain there, and all of a sudden the Gators, couple quick plays, threatening once again.
Trips right. Birch, play action. Looking right the whole way. Throwing right. Birch was looking for Inez Jordan. He had Harper wide open. May have been a different option as Harper was coming from right to left across the formation there.
That's exactly what I was going to say. And you'll see it there on your screen that he's just wide open in the middle of the field with only one more person to beat. Just a miss there on the read from Birch. He's going to see that one in film and kick himself for it, as well as he has played thus far tonight.
Pistol again. Twins to both sides. Play action. Birch running right. Steps up. Now retreats again. And he's going to toss it to the sideline. And he gets it across the line of scrimmage and throws it into the Gators bench. That's all you need to do to prevent intentional grounding or get away from that sack. And it's 3rd and 10. Live to fight another day.
He made the right decision. I think he waited a little long to do it. You see, he's really got some pressure there in the kitchen. I mean, I'm all for an athlete like Birch trying to extend plays and find options downfield, but you take a sack in that instance, it's an absolute drive killer, and you push yourself out of any opportunity to go for it on 4th down. So glad he was able to get rid of that one at the 11th hour, and as you said, fight on here for a 3rd and 10.
Well, Gateway is going to use a timeout as the sun is setting.
Timeout.
With 3:03 to play. Warm evening, temperature in the high 70s. Pretty humid at 64. Seems a little low by the way it feels, at least here inside of the press box. As you can see, 7:51 p.m., just 6 minutes away. That sun will drop completely below the horizon out there to our west. And Vince, the Gators are going to be hitting the road for a couple of weeks. They're going to play at North Hills next week, at Franklin Regional the week after, before returning to Antamarino Stadium. My favorite part of returning to Antamarino Stadium in week 5, no more sun setting through the first quarter and a half, 2 quarters of the game right in your face.
Yeah, we'll be well past that. We'll have the sun down by the time we kick off. And the further we get into the season, the further away we get from this warm weather, though. So not wishing it away just yet, but hopefully at least in week 5 we'll still have, or week 4 at that point, we'll have some good weather. North Hills is going to be an interesting matchup, an interesting challenge. That was a team that was really good last year. It'll be a good test for the Gators in the non-conference, seeing another talented team in 5A as they ramp up for that conference opener against Franklin Regional, a team that they really took it to last season in their regular season finale.
3rd and 10 for Gateway. 2 receivers left. Now a motion man is Jordan from left to right. Birch tosses. Pass complete. Gateway first down. Leaping up and pulling that one in is Remy Bose, the tight end. He comes down at the 25 for a Gators first down.
Well, they got the connection right that time, and Bose got both hands on it, made sure he came down with that one. Good ups. Bose already has good size, but was able to get himself some separation there. Great catch.
Handoff. Reynolds has room over the right tackle area, and he is inside of the 20 towards the first down flag. They'll mark him down at the 16, 1 yard shy of another Gators first down.
Nice first down run. Really opens up the playbook now on a 2nd and short. A lot of different things you can do. Maybe that design quarterback draw. Hand it off once again, or maybe take a shot at the end zone here.
Power pistol. Handoff. Reynolds. He's got the first down. Brought down at the 13.
Now, if I'm the Gators, Adam, I'm not really pushing the pedal to the metal. I mean, you are in a really good rhythm here, but with 2:14 left, you've got a chance to be the last ones to touch the football with meaningful time on the clock. So I don't know. I try to use the full play clock here, slow things down a little bit.
Again, the power pistol. Handoff. Reynolds straight up the gut. He is shouldered down inside of the 10 at around the 7 yard line. And with the clock winding down towards 2 minutes to go here, Gateway is in business inside of that 10 yard line.
And now we got to see, can they finish? Can they finish these drives? That's been something they haven't been able to do consistently, at least here early going in this season. We saw against Mount Lebanon last week. They left a lot of points on the board.
Handoff again to Reynolds. They'll get stacked up in the line of scrimmage. Maybe a short loss on the play. Bringing up 3rd down and a handful.
Smith and Purdue.
Yeah, I can't fault them for continuing to stick with something that's worked. I mean, Gators just said, we're going to keep running it at you until you prove you can stop it. Now on 3rd down, see if there's a bit of a rollout. See if Birch takes a shot here to the end zone.
Power pistol again for the Gators. Handoff. Reynolds takes it up the middle, brought down at the 5 yard line, bringing up 4th down and 1 at the 5. And Gateway is going to use a timeout here with just under a minute to play. They want to talk about this 4th and 1 situation.
Yeah, I don't blame them. I mean, you've got a chance to make it a 2-possession game. It would be a chip shot field goal. You've got a kicker returning from last season, but if I know Coach Hall and how he's tended to call these situations, I'd have to believe they're going to keep the offense on the field and roll the dice with the knowledge that even if they don't get it, you're giving Woodland Hills the ball with less than a minute left and forcing them to drive 90-plus yards the other way. So I don't think there's a wrong decision here, but I have to think they're probably going to keep the offense here out on the field. Question is, which way do they go with the ball? Do they stick with the ground game that's been successful here in the later part of this drive? And things get really tight here in the red zone, trying to find separation to get guys in space, but not a whole lot of room. There's a higher likelihood of turning the ball over or making a mistake. But you've got what a lot of people consider to be one of the best 1 or 2 quarterbacks in all the WPIAL. So you've got some options here.
Birch in the shotgun sidecar to his left now. Jordan's going to motion from right to left. Birch rolling right. Pumps a couple of times, now settles, throws to the end zone, and the pass is incomplete. And a turnover on downs at the 5 yard line. And yet again, the Gateway Gators turn the ball over on downs deep inside of an opponent territory. We saw that 3 times last week.
And it's kept this game as a 1-score game. Again, 1 play from Woodland Hills, and all of a sudden you've got a tie ball game. And credit to the Woodland Hills defense. They have played well, but the Gators have clearly, for the 2nd week in a row, been the better team through the first half of play and don't have the lead that you would expect the team that has played that much better than their opponent to have at this point in the game. And when you let teams hang around like that, you just give yourself that less of a margin for error and an opportunity to lose games that you feel like you really should win.
So the Wolverines out on the field facing a 1st and 10 at their own 5. Twins to either side. Shotgun for Wells with a sidecar to his left. He will hand off. And this time it is Brandon Jones who drives his way across the 10 to the 11-yard line before being stacked up. Remy Bose in on the tackle for the Gateway Gators.
Now, if you're the Wolverines, you've got to be thrilled going into the half down just 7-0 with your offense really sputtering. The defense playing pretty well, all things considered. A lot of big fourth down stops for the Wolverines here. A lot of heart on that defensive side of the ball. If you're the Gators, you've got to be frustrated. You've had opportunities to really take this game and make it not necessarily a blowout, but give yourself some comfortability going into the second half and establish yourself as the dominant team and put a little bit of doubt into the Wolverines. But as they're going to let this one wind down, we go into the half with just a one-score game.
I think Tim Bostard and the Woodland Hills Wolverines have to be happy going into the locker room down by just 7 points, headed to the mid-game break. And for the Gateway Gators, there's got to be a ton of disappointment, just like last week, of coming up empty so many times inside of your opponent's territory, most especially that last time at the 5.
Yeah, I mean, the efficiency and how effortless they make it look between the 20s is fantastic. I mean, they do so many things so well on the offensive side of the ball, but then when it comes to getting down into the red zone, I don't know if it's overthinking it or trying to rely on continuing that run game or the roll out there. It just seems like they're overcomplicating things when just got to get the ball into the hands of your playmakers in a little bit of space, and they've really struggled to do that as the field condenses down inside the 20.
Well, let's talk about the way the Gateway defense has played. They have absolutely shut down Woodland Hills.
I mean, through 6 quarters of play now, it's not that much of a stretch to say they look like one of the premier units in the WPIAL. I mean, they have really been stellar. Gave up the 1 touchdown drive last week to Mount Lebanon. They haven't given up anything to Woodland Hills. I'd be interested to look at the stats, but they can't have positive rushing yards, I would think. And passing the ball, I don't know that they've completed 1 pass downfield. I mean, they've really done almost absolutely nothing. And a big part of that is they've controlled the line of scrimmage, and they've taken away any time for Wells in the backfield to make any decisions.
Again, your halftime score is Gateway 7, Woodland Hills 0. We're going to step away and turn it over to the Trib Live High School Sports Network halftime show. Then we'll return with the Gateway Band. You're tuned into Gateway Football here on NFHS and the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
Gateway Band and Color Guard are led by Sean McMasters, Jamie Potter, Ryan Moser, David Burno, Deb Costley, and Kelly McMasters Parsons.
Halftime here in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. It's the Gateway Gators 7, the Woodland Hills Wolverines 0. Adam Gusky, Vince Russo on the call for you here on NFHS and the Trib Live High School Sports Network. And Vince, similar story from week 0 to week 1. The Gateway Gators offense moves the football, but they have trouble getting the ball into the end zone.
Yeah, just got to punctuate those drives. They've played leaps and bounds better than their opponent tonight, the Woodland Hills Wolverines, but they don't have much to show for it other than that one 5-yard touchdown run by quarterback Brad Birch. It's time here in this second half to do what they were able to do last week. Take the ball down the field, salt the game away, put up some points. It's been frustrating. This offense, like I said, between the 20s, they've looked fantastic. They've moved the ball efficiently. They've had a nice mix tonight of run and pass. Reynolds has had a lot more room to run. They've controlled the line of scrimmage for the most part. But once they get down into the red zone, it's just like everything changes, and they're not able to adapt to punctuate those drives in those tight spaces. And so they're going to have to do that both this week and moving forward if they're going to be a title contender. Coming down into these close games, it's those drives, it's getting points when you get the opportunity. That's what separates a team that is good like Gateway last year, the last 2 years, that gets bounced in the playoffs because they aren't able to execute in some of those last-minute situations or punctuate those drives, as we said, and being an actual champion. And they're going to have to just work through that and find a way to get points on the board.
I think the biggest key, avoid self-inflicted wounds, whether it's turnover on downs or true turnovers when you're deep inside of your opponent's territory. And, you know, that one drive where Gateway did end up giving up the ball at the 5-yard line, they ran the ball well, but I think that they fell in love with the run to the point where on downs 1, 2, and 3, they were so addicted to the run that maybe you scatter in a pass on second down, you come away with some points on that drive, and your lead is twice what it is now at the mid-game break.
And you skill all across the board on offense. You've got the opportunity to be unpredictable, and that's what the Gators need to do, is just be more unpredictable and keep defenses on their toes.
Cole Plaskin will kick off for Gateway to begin half number 2. Gateway in the blacks, Woodland Hills in the whites with the turquoise lids as this end-over-end kick carries all the way down to the 1-yard line, where it will be returned by William Smith for Woodland Hills. And Smith gets out across the 10 to around the 13, and then a host of black jerseys are there to bring him down.
Yeah, you got your starting place kicker back in Cole Plaskin, and that was a perfect kick. Let that one hang a little bit, puts it right inside the 5-yard line, over towards the pylon. Returner's got to circle back into the middle of the field to try and get behind his blockers, and by that time, he's got a wave of Gators right in front of them. They break down, they tackle, they stay in their lanes, don't over-pursue. Now the Wolverines have a really long field to go here, 87 yards.
Stop by Haynes. And
First
break.
and 10 for Woodland
First
Hills.
down.
Motion man from left to right takes the handoff for Woody High. That's Devon McClinton, and McClinton has nowhere to go.
Yeah, just wrapped up.
McClinton
Big bear
the
hug
ball
there from
carrier.
Matthew Brooks, all 6'2", 275 of them, just making sure that no one was wiggling out of that. So McClinton with a very nominal gain there.
Just under a yard on that pickup for McClinton. Ball on the right hash as Woodland Hills breaks the huddle. The QB Wells in the pistol with Brandon Jones behind him, and trips to the left. Handoff Jones. The hole closes quickly. It was opened up for a minute, but then there were 3 Gators to close that one up, including Barron Fowler and Louis Douglas.
Yeah, it really says something. That's one of the most successful run plays I think we've seen them have on the evening, the Wolverines, and even that netted just 3 yards, and now a 3rd and medium here. Probably going to have to take to the air here. 6 different Wolverines caught passes last week, but they've had no success in the passing game thus far. Wolverines have.
2 receivers to either side for Woody High. Low snap as Wells throws to his left-hand side. The intended receiver, McClinton, can't pull that one in as he slides down near the 20. It wouldn't have been enough for a first down anyway, and the punt unit will come on for the visiting Wolverines.
Yeah, had him open there, and a good job there, not draping over. Leonard Sherrod stayed back a little bit, realized that if the receiver catches the ball there, all he's got to do is break down, make a tackle, and you prevent them from getting the first down. So I never like play calls where you're throwing short of the sticks on 3rd or 4th down, and they did just that and couldn't even complete the pass. Punt unit on.
Jacob Mraz to punt this away for Woody High. And he'll get it away under some duress. It'll take a bounce in favor of the Wolverines towards midfield and will die just shy of that midfield stripe. So Gateway starting just 50 yards from pay dirt. That's the good news. Now let's see what the Gators can do with the football, because through the first 6 quarters of this year, we've seen great things and we've seen some struggles.
Absolutely. Inconsistency would be the first word that sort of comes to mind with the offense, even within drives that we've seen. And we've seen them maneuver their way down the field with precision, with ease, and then not be able to punctuate, as we've said numerous times. You don't have to delve into once again, but you see all the pieces are there. It's just getting everything to click at the right time and click together. And luckily, again, the defense is risen to the challenge. Now it's the offense's turn to use this short field.
10:32 to play here in quarter number 3. The Gators go to the air. The pass is complete to Inez Jordan. Jordan is going to reverse his field, retreat all the way back into Gators territory, find himself a crease and pick up maybe 2. The initial gain would have been about a 4.
Yeah, ran about 25, 30 yards to gain just a few there. And so that's frustrating. You certainly want to try and make something out of nothing, but there really was nothing there. Now Jordan a little hobbled coming off the field after that one. Never like to see that.
Birch to the air, looking left, completing that pass to the left-hand side, shy of the line of scrimmage as he finds Leonard Sherrod, who gets back to the line of scrimmage and no further. That brings up 3rd down and 8.
I'm just surprised they've not really pushed the envelope getting the ball downfield. They had such success last week connecting on the deep ball to Dallas Harper, and that's been non-existent in the play calling thus far tonight. A lot of bubble screens, a lot of short, quick throws, and they've had some success, but Wolverines have adjusted. Now the Gators have to do the same.
Option to the right-hand side. Birch wiggles his way free. He'll have enough for the first down, though. There's a flag down back near the line of scrimmage. That'll be a gain of about 13 on that play. And like I said, a flag against the Gators in all likelihood here, because it came from the umpire towards the offensive line. That was a nickel timer. You had a good look at that one where Baron Fowler. And that brings up 3rd down and about 3. Excuse me, a loss of 3 on the flag, and then you add 10 onto that one, so it'll bring up 3rd down and 21.
These are situations that you just can't get yourself into. It's so hard to ask your offense to go out there and execute a 3rd and 21, and they did have a couple long pass plays on, and they had a 4th and long touchdown last week, but you don't want to continue to find yourself in this position. It just feels like early in the season the Gators have had too many of these instances.
Birch, play action. Looks right, throws right, pass complete. Dallas Harper. Harper! Wow. That was 3rd and 21, now it's 4th and 1. Make it 4th and 2 where they spot the ball, but regardless, a big pickup there from Birch to Harper.
You don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but again, the self-inflicted wounds, if you avoid that, you avoid the holding call, you avoid some of these things, you're not even in this situation now on a 4th and 1. But a wonderful grab by Harper, and wonderful to see them utilizing the downfield passing game a little more.
Handoff, Reynolds. He'll get to the 40. Initially, they spotted the ball closer to the first down marker, but they'll say the stop made shy of the line to gain. A flag comes in late, though.
Interesting if there was maybe some sort of taunting or unsportsmanlike conduct, but Reynolds ran into a brick wall there right at the 40-yard line, was definitely short of the line to gain. It might have been a sideline warning as well.
Yeah, that's apparently what it is. The referee going over to tell the Gators, or the Wolverines sideline. That's a tough pill to swallow if you're a Gateway fan, to see come up just inches shy of a first down there. Reynolds seemed like he was going to have the first down, but then got stuffed about a half a yard shy and couldn't drive his way any further.
Well, that's got to be the 3rd or 4th time, Adam. The Gators have stalled on a 4th and manageable situation. Those are just instances where you want to see your team execute at a higher level, and they just haven't been able to do that tonight.
Twins to either side. Motion man for the Wolverines as the handoff is going to be to Jones. And Jones has met a couple of yards deep in the backfield. Louis Douglas and Barron Powler on the stop, loss of 1.
And essentially what the Gators have done is ask their defense to be absolutely perfect. And they have been so far tonight. But again, you just hate being in a position where one play could flip this game and make things very, very tense here. And this is a big crowd. This is one of the biggest crowds I think we've seen in a number of years here. Hard to find an open seat. There's a lot of Wolverine faithful here as well, so you can feel the tide turn if there's a break in coverage or a broken play where the Wolverines are able to score. So
Walter now in at QB for Woodland Hills, and his pass is incomplete. Cameron Walter, freshman, 6'2", 167-pound freshman for Woody High, who competed all summer long for the starting QB job.
Yeah, maybe just trying to find a spark or find some momentum. This offense has just been non-existent thus far for the Wolverines. So if you're Coach Bostard, try to get the freshman out there, see if he can make some plays or make something happen, because it's just been a complete non-factor thus far tonight.
Trips right, one receiver left. Walter in the shotgun, looks right the whole way. Now he'll toss it off. It's complete on the screen, and that's enough for a Woodland Hills first down inside of Gateway territory. And for the first time in a while, Woodland Hills is able to move the football.
Yeah, I mean, that might be their longest offensive play of the night right there, Adam. And a good job there. Young freshman just sort of stepping up into the pocket. Had good protection on that play. Had a little bit of time to let the receiver get into his route. And then just put the ball right on the money and was able to get the receiver in stride.
Handoff, Jones. Jones lowers his shoulders and drives his way inside of the 45 to the 44-yard line. And right now, Gateway defense paying the price for the offense not being able to execute and give the Gators defense some breathing room.
You can feel the momentum start to shift a little bit. If you're the Wolverines, you're in this. You've got that confidence that, look, we've stayed here toe-to-toe with the team that everyone's predicting to be the favorites through 2.5 quarters now. Let's go out and try and win this game.
Hand off to Jones. Jones just lost his footing and will lose a yard on the play after taking the handoff from Walter.
Jones over the middle.
A break there for the Gators. Jones just sort of lost the footing there. Second time we've seen that issue for the Wolverines thus far tonight here down on the turf. Brings up now what's a third and a little bit longer. Going to force the freshman likely to have to put the ball in his hands and throw the ball downfield.
I'll give you the number in a moment.
3rd down and 6. Make it 3rd and 7. Walter eludes the initial wave of pressure, but can't elude the second wave as Remy Bose, amongst others, in there to wipe out the Woody High freshman QB.
Yeah, good job ducking for cover there away from Demetrius Harper, but then a couple Gators just converging on the young quarterback before he really had any time to even get his eyes downfield. So Gators bend but don't break there, give up a couple chunk plays to the Wolverines for the first time tonight, but still pitching the shutout thus far, and hopefully a chance here get that offense on the field and get some things worked out.
Jacob Mraz to punt it away. For Woodland Hills, back deep to receive for Gateway is Chris Livesey. End over end punt. Livesey's going to catch it at the 23. Runs to his left. And he will be wrapped and brought down as he crosses the 25 to the 27-yard line. Great open field tackle by a Wolverine there. And there's a flag down near midfield.
Yeah, Livesey able to make the first miss, and good tackle there, reaching out, hanging on for dear life, bringing down Livesey. But Gators still with manageable field position at the 27. Again, probably the second time they've been backed up inside their own 30 tonight.
3, 4. That's 5-5-1.
During the kick.
7, 3, 4.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 26. 10-yard penalty for on the end of the kick. First down.
So that's going to cost Gateway 10 yards from the 27 back to the 17. So yet another one of those aforementioned self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah, just too many. Just too many holding calls, procedural penalties, false starts. You just can't have those things when you're trying to go out and be that team and be the team that's going to go out and try and win a championship. And still just week one. I don't want to talk about that ad nauseum, but there's a lot of expectations on this team. And it's one thing to not execute in certain phases of the game, but those self-inflicted wounds, as you said, Adam, those are things you can control and you need to control.
Power pistol for the Gators with Reynolds behind Birch and Jordan to his right. Motion man Harper from left to right, or rather from right to left. Birch dances, breaks free, picks up a block. He's across the 30, still on his feet to the 35. Had he been able to cut outside of Jordan, he may have been able to pick up even more, but still a big gain there for the QB Birch on the option.
Yeah, very efficient run there, and real shifty from Birch, able to shake off a tackle there. It looked for a second as if he might even get sacked or brought down in the backfield. A good job at a little shimmy and shake, getting to the outside. And yeah, if Jordan was able to get a step in front of him there, could have broke that one open even more.
Birch tosses to Jordan, and Jordan is brought down in the backfield. Noah Hutcherson makes the stop for the Wolverines, and Inez Jordan is slow to get to his feet. Looks like he has pulled a cramp there near the 32. As he'll await an athletic trainer.
It's the second week in a row we've seen the Gators with some cramping issues, and not unexpected. It's a humid night. It's a hot night. But certainly not what you want to see. Your guys cramping up and unable to fire on all cylinders. And Adam, this passing attack, I'd like to see them just get the ball down the field a little bit more. The Wolverines seem to have these screens figured out, buttoned up. Like we said earlier, they've made the adjustment. Now it's time for Coach Hall and company on the other side to make the adjustment and to counter what Tim Bostard and company have done and in taking away that phase of the offense for the Gators, which was super successful in the first half, but that well is sort of run dry.
Good news for Gators fans. Inez Jordan to his feet, and a little hitch in his giddy up as he makes his way over to the near sideline, and the cramp locked up again, so he's back down getting stretched out yet again.
A game like football, think of like basketball, hockey. I mean, you're constantly moving. You're kind of soccer as well. Now here at football, there's so much stopping and starting, not uncommon, especially during these warm weather games here in the first 3-4 weeks of the season, to see a good bit of cramping. This is the first case we've seen thus far tonight, though. I'm sure it won't be the last.
Looking forward for the Gateway Gators at North Hills next week, at Franklin Regional 2 weeks from now, before a home game in the Big East Conference against the Plum Mustangs as they have moved back up to 5A. And the Gators on the road at Hempfield before hosting Penn Trafford, then traveling to McKeesport. A home game against Norman before wrapping it up at Dormont Stadium against the Central Catholic Vikings. And we will have the call for you here on NFHS and the Trib Live High School Sports Network throughout the season, as the athletic trainers still taking a look at Inez Jordan. Don Hall out to check on his wide receiver and defensive back. Jordan going to keep that heel on the ground as he makes his way over here.
And not a good sign that he hasn't really been able to shake that. That's another playmaker you really want to have out on the field here in a close game late. Had 8 catches, 80 yards, and a touchdown last week. Had that final touchdown pass from Birch that salted the game against Mount Lebanon. And you talked about the schedule, Adam. Score of note tonight, McKeesport and Penn Trafford are tied at 7 at halftime. That's a game later this season on October 7th that I know every Gators fan has circled. Most fans across the WPIAL probably going to be determining the Big East Conference yet again.
Trips right, Birch throwing to the right, and the pass is going to be incomplete. Diving for it was Matthew Johnson for Woodland Hills. A duck there by Birch, and I don't know if somebody got a piece of the ball or his arm when he threw it, but regardless, that was nowhere near the intended receiver, and that incomplete pass brings up 3rd down and 13.
Yeah, Birch caught a break on that one, just didn't get all. That's the second week in a row. We didn't see that last season, but he had one that sort of flailed out into the flats last week. Now this one, just a complete duck, as you said. And now faced with a 3rd and long situation. Very lucky that that ball hit the turf right before the Wolverines were able to get underneath it, because that could have been taken to pay dirt, or at the very least, if it's caught, Wolverines have the ball on the Gators side of the field with a fresh set of downs.
Don Hall and the Gateway Gators take a timeout. They're going to talk things over, and that'll give the defensive staff for Woodland Hills an opportunity to talk as well. Warm night here in the eastern suburbs of Pittsburgh. Second home game in a row for the Gateway Gators before they hit the road for 2 in a row. One out of conference at North Hills, one in conference at Franklin Regional 2 weeks from this evening.
A chance to learn a lot about your team in a comfortable environment here. 2 games at home against quality opponents, and certainly another one on the road next week, traveling north. First time the Gators have gone north in a little while. They were supposed to play Pine Richland a few years ago, as we mentioned last week, before that game got wiped out due to COVID.
Pistol formation on 3rd and 13. Birch off of play action. Finds Livesey, who gets hit as he catches the football, and it gets knocked loose by Matthew Johnson of the Wolverines.
Yeah, a great ball, but he led his receiver right into that hit there. And I mean, part of that's just a really great play there from the defensive back, Matthew Johnson. Really just put a hit on that. I mean, Livesey had that in the breadbasket and hit him just hard enough to lodge that ball loose. That's a heady play there by the defense to force the punt team out for the Gators.
I think one thing that is playing a role here in the second half, with Gateway not having enough success to get over the hump, Woodland Hills has one of their deepest teams in years. 70-plus kids came out for the team back in August, and you can see a huge bench over there for the Wolverines. Considering that's a 3A enrollment school, that's a lot of football players. Nice punt here by Cole Plaskin will take a great roll for the Gateway Gators all the way down towards the 21-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 for the Woodland Hills Wolverines.
Certainly the Wolverines and their program have a very rich and storied tradition, but I think they're a team that's going to fly a little under the radar to start this season, pending however this game wraps up. Certainly if they're able to spring an upset against Gateway, that would turn some heads relatively quickly at them. But I think this is a team that not a lot of people anticipated to be this competitive as they have been tonight, and against a talented out of the area school, out of the WPIAL school last week. So the Wolverines turning some heads here early in the season. They might be a team to watch out here for in 5A.
Walter in the shotgun. Looking right as a flag comes in, and the pass will just carry him off of the chest plate of the intended receiver, Makai Palmer.
That being said, for as much as we talked about the Gators need to figure out some stuff offensively, the Wolverines, they've got a lot to figure out offensively as well. 28 points in the first half last week, but then went dormant in the second half, and still no points so far today.
Legal use of hands. Offense number 50. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Holding.
So that illegal use of hands penalty against Woodland Hills is going to back them up from the 21 to the 11-yard line, where it'll be 1st down and 20 for Woody High. You talked about the storied program that Woodland Hills had. I've seen, our camera pan that Woodland Hills bench area, and, off the top of my head, I saw, 3 or 4 NFL players, not to mention all the Division I guys that have played for Woodland Hills over the years that are now coaches for the Wolverines. High snap, but Walter pulls it in as he rolls to his right, throws to his right-hand side, and a diving opportunity there for a Wolverine. Livesey had an opportunity to pull it in for Gateway, but there was, for Gateway, and then there was a Wolverine there, and Makai Palmer, who just couldn't get it as he was sliding backwards.
Yeah, you got to catch that one. And it's one of the best balls that either quarterback has thrown all evening. You had a little bit of separation there. You got to come down with that. You got to generate some sort of spark, some sort of momentum. They had the one completion on the last drive that netted them a 1st down, but when you've got opportunities like that and a step behind the defense in a close game, you got to execute.
Pistol formation. Walter is the QB, the freshman. Handoff. I think that's Nesby, the ball carrier that time. Not a lot of real estate for Nesby, as he will be brought down.
Over right guard.
Gain of 1 or 2.
Nesby averaged almost 10 yards a carry last week. He's had almost nothing to work with tonight. Nobody has running the football against the Gators thus far this season. As you see, I believe that's Louis Douglas getting stretched out there, our second Gator with some cramp issues here. Hopefully he doesn't have the same issues Jordan has and can get him stretched out pretty quick.
We'll be back here at Pete Antamarino Stadium 3 weeks from this evening, as the Gateway Gators will take on the Plum Mustangs in a conference matchup. Back-to-back conference games for Gateway, as they'll be at Franklin Regional 2 weeks from tonight, and then home versus Plum 3 weeks from tonight. Vince, I know you and Spencer Witt will have the call 2 weeks from tonight, and the Trib Live High School Sports Network will be providing us with announcers for next week. Bob Orquist will be at least one of them. As we take a look at the Big East Conference, no teams have played in conference yet, and all the teams at the top undefeated. Norwin 0-1.
It's going to be real interesting. A lot of new teams in this conference this season, and a mix of teams coming up from 4A, down from 6A, and so certainly I think most folks are still prognosticating that it's going to come down to Penn Trafford and Gateway, but we've got some wild cards in there. It should make for a really fun season here in the Big East Conference.
Trips to the right as Walter is in the shotgun, and Woodland Hills all out of sorts with those receivers towards the far side. One receiver to the near side. Walter straight drop back. Sets his feet and heave-hoes it. And it's going to be intercepted by Dallas Harper. Harper trying to spin his way free to no avail. He'll be brought down inside of Woodland Hills territory at the 49 as the tackle is made by Makai Palmer.
Gators need to just turn, walk away, a little bit of jaw in there after the play. Yeah, that really was just sort of a heave-ho thrown into double coverage, 40 yards downfield. Not going to find a whole lot of success doing that routinely, and Harper the second week in a row with a takeaway. And the Gators, I mean, the same as last week, Adam, they've had just incredible field position offensively for most of the evening. Worst field position they've started with is the 27 twice this evening. This is at least the third drive where they're going to be starting right around midfield or in Wolverines territory. So they've set the table consistently through almost 7 full quarters of play thus far. Now it's just time to go out and take those opportunities that are gifted to you and make something of them, and especially now make this a 2-score game, not go into the fourth quarter sort of clenching, being scared, being only up 1 score.
Pitch to the left to Jordan, and Jordan is brought down into backfield. Option there, and the Wolverines were all over it, and as Jordan is slow to get to his feet, as seems like another cramped situation. So he's on his feet, and he'll hobble his way over here.
Not a good sign to have skill players in a position where you're wondering if they're going to be able to make it through all 4 quarters here during the warm weather. Luckily, the Gators have a lot of depth at that position and a lot of skill players in general that can spread the wealth to. But Jordan, as we said, caught a touchdown last week, was one of the big difference makers in the game. You hate to see him have to miss any time here due to something like cramping.
So as Jordan gets to the sideline, that'll bring up 2nd down and 12 for the Gators. The line to gain is inside of Woody High territory at the 39. True shotgun this time with Birch having a sidecar to his right. Hitch and go here. Birch looking for Livesey, but instead it's off the mark, and it's going to be intercepted by Matthew Johnson of the Wolverines.
Well, Birch did the exact same thing that we just saw the Wolverines and Cameron Walter do. Throws the ball deep downfield into double coverage, and you're just not going to see success trying to force the ball in like that. And so 2 quick turnovers for each team, and now we're kind of right back where we started about 5 minutes ago in this game with the Wolverines at about the 20-yard line and a chance to tie this game up.
Louis Douglas returning along the defensive line for Gateway as the Wolverines break the huddle. Walter stays in at QB with 2 receivers to either side and a sidecar to his left. Walter looks right, throws right, completes the pass to that right-hand side, and to the far boundary goes Isaiah Greer. And Greer forced out of bounds by a Gator. And that's enough for Woodland Hills first down.
A couple strong throws here from Cameron Walter. Wolverines might have something here with the freshman. He's been able to connect a few times and give this offense really the first sign of life it's had throughout this game whatsoever. The question is, will they be able to string enough consistently together, get this down the length of the field, and get into the end zone?
2 receivers to either side. Walter in the shotgun with a sidecar to his left. Walter rolling left, throwing left, completing the pass to the left. Oh my goodness. William Smith tugged out of bounds by a Gator, and the Gator had his cage. William Smith had his face mask pulled very hard by Gateway's Demetrius Harper.
Yeah, unintentional it looked like, just in the process of trying to grab on and bring the receiver down, but you always wince when you see a guy get sort of jerked around by the face mask there, and that's going to be an extra 15 yards for the Wolverines.
Personal foul, face mask.
Personal
Defense
foul
number
against the
30.
Gators.
15-yard penalty added to the end of the run results in a first down.
So 15 yards tacked on to a 9-yard pass, and the ball will be moved into Gateway territory. And the Wolverine fans like it.
Yeah, if you're Woodland Hills, this is your drive right here. This is a chance to seize the momentum in this game.
Broken play, Walter dodges a Gator, and he's going to pick up positive yardage to the near sideline. Heady play by the freshman. As the play breaks down, he races for 11 and a first down.
Wow, Adam, what a response by the freshman there. The play breaks down, he doesn't panic, and he even allows the blocker to set, gets himself an extra 5 or 6 yards there. That's a veteran play for a 9th grader right there, to pull that ball down, immediately get his eyes downfield, no panic. He's looked good here in the limited action that he's gotten so far in the second half.
Well, like I said, he was competing for the starting job all summer long, so he definitely got first team reps. Trips right, snap off the mark. Walter nowhere to go this time. As Demetrius Harper grabs the jersey and pulls Walter down a handful of yards down in the backfield.
Yeah, only so many times you're going to get away with a broken play against a very talented Gators defense, and Gateway made him pay that time.
Baron Fowler also in on the stop for the Gateway Gators. 2nd and 14 for Woody High. The ball on the left hash inside of Gators territory at the 39. Walter with a sidecar to his right. Looking right, throwing right, pass in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, Isaiah Greer, who has had 2 catches on, or rather 1 catch on this drive and just couldn't pull that one in. Brings up 3rd down and 14.
The ball was a little high for Greer, who's only at 5'11", but you got to come down with that. They've had a couple drops tonight. And, that would have made it probably 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. Now you're looking at a 3rd and 14, and it just makes it that much harder to convert and keep the drive moving. Again, the self-inflicted wounds. Both teams have really had those come back to bite them.
Trips right, Walter looking right the whole way. Little slip screen set up, but nowhere to go for the receiver, Adam Ghanem. And Ghanem is brought down.
Ouch.
Gators were all over that one.
Ouch. I mean.
And that was a Ghanem sandwich. Remy Bowes and Brooks all involved in that stuff.
Yeah, those are not guys you want to see as you turn your head to try and get upfield, as they don't miss.
4th and a dozen for Woodland Hills. The ball in the center of the field at the 37-yard line. Walter, the freshman, with trip to the left. Settles his feet down, throws it down this near boundary. Incomplete turnover on downs, and the Gators offense gets the ball back. And with this drive, yet again, the Gators really could use some breathing room. Maybe a protracted drive kept up with some points.
Yeah, anything at this point. You'll take them any way you can get them. Deep shot downfield. Jaquan Reynolds breaking a run. Anything you can do to try and just get some more points on the board. I mean, you're really playing with a lot of fire here. You're asking this defense for the Gators to just be perfect the whole way through, and really all three facets of the game. You're asking for mistake-free football, and the margin for error in a one-score game is just so razor thin. You look at the probability of going up 14 here at the end of the third quarter, or even into the fourth quarter if they can put a prolonged drive together. That turns that likelihood of winning up just so much more.
And as Jordan back in the lineup, racing to that left side to bring two receivers to the left of that formation. Plenty of time on the play clock. As now Jordan will motion into the backfield. Handoff, Reynolds running right. Drives his way forward towards the 40, where he'll be brought down to the 39, a pickup of a couple.
Stop by 42, Smith.
And not a lot going out there. Gators, or rather the Wolverines, had that one sniffed out. Good job there by Noah Hutcherson, putting the helmet down, driving Reynolds back after only a gain of 2.
Andre Smith also in on the stop for Woody High. Power pistol, handoff Reynolds, running right, driving his way forward. Picks up 4 to the 43-yard line.
Reynolds over the middle.
And that brings up 3rd down and 4.
Rose.
Good initial push there, and while the hole closed up quickly, it gives you an opportunity here at 3rd and 4. Much more manageable than some of the situations we've seen the Gators get themselves into here in the second half. Looks like they're just going to let this one wind down to head into the 4th. Adam, we got ourselves quite a game. I knew that Woodland Hills was going to hang around, but I don't know that I saw them keeping the Gators at just 7 points through 3 quarters.
And especially with the way the first half went, it really seemed like the Gateway offense was able to move the ball at will on a couple of drives, including a drive that came up empty at the 5-yard line of the Woodland Hills Wolverines. But overall, this third quarter has got to be an encouraging sign for the visitors on that far boundary.
Yeah, I mean, this was the first quarter where I think you actually, if this was a heavyweight fight, I think Woodland Hills wins that third quarter. They drove the ball a little more efficiently. They didn't come up with any points, but they really have tightened things up defensively and made the Gators really a non-factor in that third quarter offensively. And so they have the opportunity now on 3rd and short, but got to execute, got to get some points, got to get a little bit of a lead here, give yourself some comfortability here late in this game.
How about the freshman for Woodland Hills, Cameron Walter? He's come in, and while the Wolverines haven't put points on the board, he's been a spark.
He's looked decisive. He's made good plays. He has forced the ball a little bit downfield and thrown into traffic, which got his hand caught in the cookie jar with an interception once, but was really impressed with the broken plays, how he was able to just sort of take a deep breath, get himself upfield, gain yardage, not panic, and he's looked like he belongs out there on the field, which is hard for a lot of 9th graders to do. I mean, you talk about it, even in college is this large jump, but in high school, you're talking about guys that are 14, 15 going up against guys that are 17, 18, and the physical difference in that can't be understated. And yeah, he looks the part. He's played well.
Yeah, but he's 6'2", 170 pounds, so he's not a diminutive freshman by any stretch of the imagination. As the Gators are going to go to the ground, a big hole initially for Reynolds, but that closes up before he gets to the first down flag, and that'll bring up 4th down and 1. Let's see what Don Hall does here with the ball. 4th and 1, shy of midfield.
There's a lot of temptation to go for it, to try and kind of drive that nail in and maybe have that drive that breaks this game open. But by the same token, your defense has been perfect tonight. So we'll see if they pooch punt it or if they actually go for it here.
Birch looks to the sideline. Don Hall giving some direction as the right tackle moves early for the Gateway Gators. Negating an opportunity to even try to go for it is Louis Douglas flinching.
Just can't have that, Adam. I mean, you just can't have that. I mean, this is a unit that coming into the season is loaded with guys that have been there, that have done that. They've played under the Friday night lights, and these are the situations that win and lose football games, and just a critical error there for the Gators. And now their hand is forced. Got to punt it here.
Greer is back to receive.
So now it'll be Cole Plaskin to punt it away. Greer back to receive for Woodland Hills as Gateway takes a timeout. Well, how about this Woodland Hills club? A team that has 3A enrollment, has 70-plus players, and is out here going toe-to-toe with the top-ranked team in WPIAL 5A.
Yeah, a lot of people questioned, the Wolverines opting to stay up at 5A after the last few years. They've had a very noticeable lack of depth on the bench, and this season they got guys to turn out. They've clearly done a good job of prepping and getting ready for these first 2 games, and they've got them. They're in the driver's seat here with getting the ball back with an opportunity to try and tie this game up. 10:55 left in the fourth quarter. For Woodland Hills, whether you're a fan or you're part of the program, I don't think you could ask for much more coming into this contest tonight than a shot to win this game here late in the second half.
Cole Plaskin to punt. Oh no, his knee was down when he picked up the snap, and it's going to be 1st and 10 for Woodland Hills at the 27-yard line.
And there it is, potentially that break that Woodland Hills needed to get themselves back in. Again, when you're up just 7 points here, unable to move the football effectively, you're hanging on by that razor's edge, and you just don't have that margin for error. And now, you felt the momentum shifting to the guys with the turquoise helmets on, and now they've got an opportunity in a very, very short field.
So 1st down and 10 for Woodland Hills at the Gateway 27-yard line. Ball on the left hash. Walter, the freshman, in there. He's going to toss it towards the goal line, and he and the receiver not on the same page, as there were 2 Gators back to try to get towards that ball, including Chris Livesey and Dallas Harper.
Well, I like the thought process there. Take the turnover and take a shot right away. See teams generally have success in some of those situations, but just a miscommunication there. So the ball kind of just flailed off into no man's land there, which honestly, after the miscommunication, is sort of your best case scenario. As if Harper was able to get 1 or 2 more steps in, he would have been able to pick that one off, and then you nullify this golden opportunity for the Wolverines.
Brandon Jones dots the pistol, and he will dance his way forward, nowhere to go, as he's swallowed up by Louis Douglas.
Give this Gators defense credit. They've made the Wolverines one-dimensional on offense, and even that's being kind to what this Wolverines offense has looked like tonight. And they've had some success throwing the ball. They just have not been able to move the ball on the ground whatsoever. It doesn't look like that's going to be changing here in this fourth quarter.
Shotgun with Jones next to Walter, and trips to the right. Walter looking right, settles his feet, looks back left. Now he's pressured as the flag comes in. Toss over to Jones. Jones still on his feet, leaps over a Gator inside of the 20. But where that flag came from and to where it was thrown, it certainly looks like it's going to be a holding that's going to negate that pass to Brandon Jones.
Yeah, a nice pass and nice run after the catch. First time we've seen Brandon Jones really get an opportunity with the ball in his hands in space, but yeah, all for naught. Very likely the holding call.
Offense number 50, 10-yard penalty, 3rd down.
So that 10 yards is tacked on from where the flag was thrown. So that's going to push Woodland Hills all the way back to the 41-yard line with the line to gain the 22. So it's 3rd down and very long.
And here you just treat it like 4-down territory. You try and get a chunk of this here, give yourself an opportunity to go for it on 4th down.
Walter looking for all of it down that left side, and the pass is caught over there on the far boundary, but the receiver, Stephen Jenkins, is out of bounds.
Let's take another look here on the replay. Boy, that was close. And the official was right there. I mean, if anyone's got a good eye on it, it's going to be the official right there, smack dab in front of that catch. That was really close to being a game-changing play right there, and as it stands, 9:44 left. Wolverines have to start thinking about, do we go for it here? And I mean, I don't blame them for giving it a shot here. Their defense has been lights out in the second half. The Gators have had ample good field position and not been able to make anything of it.
Trips to the short side left, 2 receivers to the right, in an empty set for the freshman Walter. Walter settles at the 50, now rolls to his right. Steps into a throw, and the pass is incomplete into the Gators bench. And that turnover on downs will give the Gators the ball at the 41. And yet again, an opportunity for the Gators offense to capitalize on a defensive stop.
They've been there. The table's been set all night. They've had great field position. They've definitely gotten the better of the field position game overall in this battle. And whether they're able to reignite some of the success running the ball they had toward the end of the first half, or incorporate that vertical passing game once again. Again, I'd like to see the opportunity to try and take a deep shot to Harper, try to take the lid off, at least show the attempt at going that way. We'll see. And they've got so many playmakers, it's just hard to fathom they've had such a difficult time getting the ball in these guys' hands.
First down for the Gators.
2 receivers right, 1 to the near side left. Birch, straight drop back. Tosses it across the middle where it's caught by Dallas Harper, gets ripped loose, and they're going to say an incomplete pass.
Pass is complete to Harper. That's good enough.
Now the official's going to say that it is a catch for Dallas Harper, and it's going to be a first down for Gateway inside of Woody High territory.
Wow. I mean, he did have the ball in his hands when he hit the ground. And by the letter of the law, I suppose that the play is dead there, but usually they look for control through coming to the ground.
And Gateway was trying to set up a screen. The problem is that screen led to an interception by Noah Hutcherson, but this may be negated by a roughing the passer as Birch was driven to the turf.
And the passer, defense number 2. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
Boy, that's a big break for the Gators right there, because that was a broken play. And nothing went right there for the Gators. And luckily, Birch got driven down pretty hard. He's okay. Because of that, the Gators will get a new lease on life here, so to speak, and a fresh set of downs.
And that's a circumstance where you see it happen at all levels of football. It's when the defensive player drives the quarterback into the turf. And that's exactly what happened to Birch there by the defensive player who was putting the pressure on him.
It's hard to argue that. I mean, it's such an emphasis, as you said, Adam, at all levels of football these days. Any defensive player and defensive coaching staff has to know better that that's going to get called every single time.
So this ball is going to be marched 15 yards from the line of scrimmage inside of the Woodland Hills 35 to the 34, much to the chagrin of the Wolverine fans below us and to our left.
Yeah, 2 plays in a row. It looks like you've made a big play and continue to turn momentum, and the Gators getting a few breaks here. Can they capitalize?
Pistol formation. Reynolds. Now it's Birch who has the ball stripped away from him. The ball's loose, and I think Reynolds got there.
Oh my goodness.
And right there, that's a circumstance where Woodland Hills, whoever stripped the ball loose, got a bit greedy, and instead of trying to fall on the ball and get the turnover, he was trying to pick it up and make something happen.
I saw Tyree Young-Grimes was there. He wasn't the guy that stripped it away. Boy, Reynolds with a heady play there. And my goodness, Adam, it just feels like the Gators are really playing with fire here. Just really trying to find a way to get Woodland Hills back even in this game. This has been wild. Credit to the Wolverines, though.
Handoff, Reynolds running left. The hole closes up on him after he picks up 2.
Stop by 4.
And you wonder when you're the team getting hunted, are nerves starting to kick in? Are you starting to have some self-doubt because you've had so much trouble? You had first drive, easy, cutting like a hot knife through butter, touchdown, and since then, not a whole lot of anything happening offensively. Do you start to doubt? Do you start to lose a little bit of confidence in that huddle? If you're Brad Birch, how are you as a junior and a second-year starter for the Gators continuing to get those guys, engaged and believing in the process?
3rd and 14. Birch, straight drop back. Has all kinds of time. He's going to dump it off to Livesey, and the pass is off the mark.
Pass is incomplete. 4th down.
That brings up 4th down. And on one hand, you're talking about the fact that Gateway has have that doubt creeping in, and it's compounded by the fact that in the last 2 weeks, you've had a handful of drives deep inside of your opponent's territory to come up empty, whether it's with a turnover on downs or a true turnover.
Yeah, it's got to be incredibly frustrating, to say the least.
So it's 4th down and 14. Birch is going to punt it away. A beauty to that far side, and it'll take a bounce in favor of the Wolverines. So Livesey's there to down it at the 10. So it's 90 yards away from pay dirt for the Woodland Hills Wolverines.
You just got to hope this defense continues to hold and that the levee doesn't break. I mean, the Wolverines got big play guys. They got the horses to get into space and break plays off. Like you said, we got 2 return touchdowns called back last week. Their backup running back scored 3 touchdowns. And they've got some guys there that can get stuff done, but this defense has been just incredible thus far, and they're going to have to continue it here for the next 7:23. It really feels like this game is going to lay on their shoulders.
Walter, the QB, the freshman, with trips to his right, throws to the right-hand side, has a wide-open receiver. Down the right seam, Devon McClinton.
Yeah, nice route there. Had a couple guys open. Got McClinton there, and then right behind, number 10 for the Wolverines, Adam Gannum. So a lapse in coverage there led to an opportunity for the Wolverines. Get a nice chunk play there. And once again, this offense coming to life a little bit here in the second half. Still no points to show for it, but can't be understated. The quarterback change seems to have paid off a little bit.
Motion man from right to left for Woodland Hills. He'll take the handoff, but whistles blow before the snap. Isaiah Greer took the handoff, but like I said, flags before the snap.
Snap infraction. Offense number 50. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
There's one you don't hear too often, a snap infraction.
Well, there's a couple of things you can do as a center. You pick the ball up off of the ground. You can move the ball a bit. Either of those are going to catch the ire of the official, especially when they're watching the ball closely. Walter looks left, now runs to his right. Tries to settle his feet, throws it across the middle, finds a wide open Woodland Hills Wolverine. Great decision making by the freshman as Adam Gannum makes the reception for the Wolverines at the 44.
Wow, good awareness under duress, rolling to the right. Able to stay in bounds just long enough. Nice ball there. Puts it right into the receiver's hands, and don't look now. Wolverines have been moving the ball here a little bit in the second half, but again, just like the Gators, can they punctuate? Can they sustain this? Neither team, other than that first drive of the game, has proven they've been able to do that.
Cameron Walter running left, throwing left. The pass complete to that left-hand side. Devon McClinton with the catch, runs out of bounds. Just shy of the midfield stripe at the 49.
Yeah, good gain on 1st down. You'll take that every time. A good 6 yards, 2nd and manageable. Continues to keep your playbook open. If I'm Woodland Hills here, I contemplate going with maybe a delayed handoff here. Gators have been kind of lulled into the pass defense here. The Wolverines have had success with it. Maybe you try and get it into Jones' hands. Catch the Gators off guard a little bit here.
New ball in for the Wolverines, allows them to reset the play clock. And the Wolverines do go to the ground to no avail as the ball carrier is brought down by Matthew Brooks.
You know, I still appreciate the attempt there at trying to keep the defense honest, but excellent effort there by the Gators, who have a player down. Looks like another cramp. So luckily nothing serious, but Gators the only team tonight with cramping issues. Wolverines, they look conditioned. Wonder if that'll play a factor here in the last 6 minutes. Any attrition.
And that's something I noticed too about this Woodland Hills club, a conditioned club, a team that clearly has spent time in the weight room, time running, and they do have the depth to cycle players in and out. Gateway doesn't seem to be doing the same with cycling that many players, with so many of them going both ways.
Yeah, you don't see that. You see that a decent amount at 5A, but you generally do see a little more depth, and I think we've traditionally seen that a little bit more here even within this program. And don't get me wrong, the guys that they've trotted out there on both sides of the field make plays at a high level. It's luckily
Baron Fowler, the Gator, who's to his feet and comes to the sideline.
Yeah, shaking his head, frustrated. Hopefully he's able to shake this off, get back in the huddle.
The athletic trainer for Gateway, he's had his work cut out for him, not just tonight, but last night with soccer too. There were a handful of players or more that went down with some cramps. 3rd down and 4 for Woodland Hills. The line to gain is the 46 of the Gateway Gators. The ball at the midfield stripe on the left hash. Trips right, Walter in the shotgun with a sidecar to his right. Walter running right, throwing to the near side, and the pass is incomplete. A little high for Isaiah Greer, but certainly wasn't uncatchable. And that incomplete pass brings up 4th down and 4.
In that case, honestly, sort of no harm, no foul. You certainly would have liked to have seen it completed and him put a little more zip on that ball. But even if Greer catches that, he's likely getting walloped right away, right there at the 50, which wouldn't have been a gain. It would have resulted in the same scenario. So he avoided taking a nasty hit there, and they'll go for it here. Less than 6 minutes left. You got to.
So 4th and 4, trips right for Woody High, one receiver left. Walters in the shotgun, looking left the whole way as he's pressured. Runs right, throws right. The ball is caught right near the 1st down marker, and that's William Smith who catches it. And it'll depend on the spot, but I think it's pretty close to that 1st down. If you go by the official on the near side, I don't think he's got it.
I don't think he...
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't, no.
No, the line to gain was the 46. They're going to spot the ball at the 47. They're going to bring the sticks over, but if you base it on where the linesman on the near sideline has placed that ball right near the 47-yard line, that's not enough for Woodland Hills 1st down.
I don't think that was the most generous spot towards Woodland Hills. It looked like it was very, very close. I don't know of a full yard difference, but it did almost seem like the receiver kind of took a step backwards. I think if he falls forward, he gets that 1st down, but the fact that he tried to pull his momentum back to open up the field and make a cut, make a play, and then was unable to do so, that's ultimately, I think, going to cost them. I don't think they're going to get this.
It's not even close. It's a turn. It was a turnover on downs. You didn't have to bring the sticks over to know that from where that ball was placed.
We've been having fun with the sticks tonight. Why not a little bit more?
Sure, why not? Those guys have gotten a workout. Gateway's moved the ball a lot, so they've been shifting around. The problem is the Gators haven't moved the ball inside of the 10 and into the end zone enough tonight, especially here in half number 2. The Gators' offense has had their struggles, to say the least.
And at this point, even you just stay on the field, try and wind this clock down. Now, the biggest enemy of the Wolverines is Father Time, and so if you're the Gators, you're just trying to sustain something, certainly to score points. You'd like a little more assurance here late in the game, but more than anything, you want to keep the ball in your hands and keep it out of the hands of the Wolverines.
Whistles tweeting as the Gators were set to get going here offensively. Some confusion over there on the Woodland Hills sideline, and now the referee gets the green light, and we will get back to live action. With 5:38 to play, fourth quarter, Gateway 7, Woodland Hills 0. To the ground. Big hole for Reynolds. Close to first down yardage as he's brought down inside of Woodland Hills territory at the 44. Tackle on the play by Frank Keys.
Beautiful hole opened up there, and Reynolds doing a good job of just moseying right through it and getting downfield. Second and short. If they can string a few more of those together, they can really wind this clock down.
Certainly seemed like that ball was spotted at the 44 initially, then placed inside of the 45. Regardless, it's going to be second and short, but second and a little bit longer with that ball placement. Pistol formation with Reynolds behind Birch. Big hole for Reynolds rather, as he's got the first down and more.
Reynolds over the middle.
How about Remy Bose, who came from the wing on the left and just blew up the defensive end on that side. That was a big fella that Bose hit in Kellen McDonough. McDonough, whose dad played Division I football at the University of Kentucky. And McDonough already getting a lot of Division I looks himself, both at the FBS and FCS level. Two receivers left, hand off, big hole for Reynolds. And Reynolds inside of the 30 to the 28-yard line.
Flag came in late there, it looked like.
Also, Fowler is down. And it's one thing when Baron Fowler pulls a cramp on the defensive side of the football and gets stretched out, but when you lose your center, it's a whole different circumstance on the offensive side of the ball.
And boy, you really don't want to lose that guy with 4:14 left at a one-score ball game when he's in charge of getting the ball into the hands of the quarterback. And so they're going to warm up really quickly. It looks like the backup for the Gators is going to be number 70, Chase Anthony, the 5'10 junior. He's getting some reps here real quick with Birch. And one thing, Adam, I want to point out, I saw this last week against Mount Lebanon and saw it again here today. Now the Gators with 4 minutes here, about 5.5, 6 when the drive started. Now the goal is to wind the clock. The goal is to limit the opportunity for the Wolverines. I just am baffled that the Gators have been snapping the ball with more than 10 seconds left on the play clock. I mean, I get you want to stay in rhythm, but by the same token, it's just limiting your opponent's opportunities for success. I just don't understand.
To compound things for the Wolverines on this successful offensive drive thus far for Gateway, a face mask penalty against Woodland Hills is going to move the ball half the distance to the goal inside of the 20 to, where are they going to put that ball? At the 14-yard line when it'll be 1st and 10.
I talked about it a lot. Reynolds being just 5'7", runs low to the ground, runs powerful, and he, especially last season, drew a ton of face mask penalties because guys just having to reach down to try and get after him and ended up grabbing a fistful of face mask.
Pistol formation, two receivers right, wing to the right in Bose as well, one receiver to the near side left in Leonard Sherrod. Birch surveys. The clock winds. And here the Gators are using some clock up.
As they should. Still 10 seconds left. I wouldn't snap this until under 5, under 3. There you go.
Hand off, Reynolds. Reynolds running left inside of the 10 as he's banged down to the turf.
Yeah, if I'm the Gators, a great sign here late in the game to see this line winning that war of attrition. You saw some cramping. You started to worry, are the Wolverines going to wear them down? Are they going to start manhandling, bullying at the line of scrimmage? But the Gators getting stronger at the line of scrimmage as this game goes on. And yeah, if I'm the Gators, I'm in no rush right now.
Baron Fowler back in the game for the Gators, the left-handed center. Pistol again, hard count by Birch. Down to 5 on the play clock. Hand off, Reynolds. Reynolds is going to get inside the 10 to round the 8 as a timeout is called. I think Woodland Hills is going to use the timeout here.
Yeah, it's about that time. You want to hopefully get a stop here, but you need to have enough time to try and move the ball down the field. Luckily, Wolverines have done a good job keeping those timeouts in the back pocket here. Good situational football, good game management. That's just the first timeout call here in the second half for them.
Take a look at that defensive huddle for the Woodland Hills Wolverines. The man in the center, Rontez Miles, who was an All-American at California University of Pennsylvania and played for the New York Jets. The gentleman with the bucket hat and the beard, Chris Edmonds, who played for West Virginia and the Cincinnati Bengals. The man pointing to his head played at Akron, Wayne Anderson. Lafayette Pitts retreating off of the field, a former Pitt Panther who played in the NFL for several years. In fact, just got released last week from the Atlanta Falcons as he still pursuing his NFL dreams after a pretty long career.
Just the fountain of knowledge that these young men for Woodland Hills get to soak up. And they've made some mistakes tonight, but a very good sign of a well-coached team that they're hanging in this game like they are.
Pistol formation. Jordan motions into the backfield. Option to the left. Birch still on his feet, driving towards the goal line and into the end zone for a gateway touchdown.
Well, Adam, if you would have said that the difference maker in this game was Brad Birch, that would have been pretty self-evident. But doing it on the ground as he has tonight, being shifty, fighting through a tackle there, that's an evolution in his game that we've continued to see flourish between the tail end of last season and the start of this one. And right there, you don't have the nail fully driven into the coffin, but boy, have you made things real hard for Woodland Hills here late in this one.
Especially with the way the Gators defense is played.
Oh, absolutely. So you can start to breathe a little bit if you're wearing the black and gold.
Low snap, but a good job by the holder to get that one down, and then Plaskin boots it through the uprights.
Well, I will say this, Adam. You know, we've talked ad nauseum about the struggles of an offense that has lofty expectations. But for the second week in a row, when push came to shove late in the game and they needed that drive to cement a lead that, you know, last week proved to be enough, and this week with 2:45 left, looks like it has the likelihood of being enough. They've went and they've gotten that drive. This week, it was all on the ground. Last week, it was in the air. And so, you know, certainly, you know, you critique and you talk about the shortcomings because the expectations are, as the #1 preseason team in 5A, to win a championship. But there's something to be said for winning ugly and finding a way late in the game to get points on the board, even if it's been a pretty darn frustrating effort throughout the evening.
Especially a team a season ago who wasn't getting those close victories, who came up short down the stretch. This is a team that through the first 2 weeks of the season has had gut check moments, and they came through in those gut check moments.
Absolutely. It does seem like they've taken that next step mentally.
A lot of that has to do with the experience that a lot of these players have. A season ago, these guys were, you know, first-year starters who saw some action a season prior as a special teamer or what have you. But now these guys are full-fledged second-year players. So many of them. Plaskin's boot bounces, keeps rolling, and will bounce out of bounds at the 3. 9 feet was the difference between a touchback and the Wolverines getting the ball at the 35. So certainly not an ideal situation here for Gateway.
Wow.
A touchback would have put the ball at the 20. It's a 15-yard difference.
Yeah, and those are amplified when you've got to go quick. You've gifted the Wolverines 15 yards. You've essentially gifted them 20 seconds on the clock. They don't have to spend trying to get that yardage. It's go time for the Wolverines. If you're the Gators, if you're those guys in the trenches, it's time to pin those ears back. You know that you're not going to have to worry about tackling a running back for most likely. It's trying to get to the quarterback.
Cameron Walter is the QB with twins to either side. He'll roll to his left. The freshman chucks it to that far boundary. It will be a catch there near the first down flag. Ganna makes the tackle, or makes the catch for the Wolverines, and he's down under his own power, just shy of the first down flag.
Good pitch and catch. Gators likely going to allow and a prevent defense, the Wolverines to catch the ball, and then they'll swarm and tackle quickly. It's not about giving up yards at this point. You're not as concerned about that. It's just not letting the levee break and let anyone behind you.
Woodland Hills with 2 timeouts remaining. Walter in the shotgun, rolls to his right. Feels late pressure, tosses it off to Brandon Jones, and that would have been a better situation for Jones to just knock it down to the turf, because instead of 3rd and 1, it's going to be 3rd and a handful, a loss of 6 or 7 on that play ultimately, depending on where this ball is finally spotted. Tim Boston and the Woodland Hills Wolverines taking a timeout.
Yeah, that's a situation where you just got to throw that ball away and regroup on 3rd and short and find a way to get the first down. Now you've made things much, much more difficult for yourself, and you've used a considerable amount of time doing that.
So again, discussion time for both sidelines. For the Gateway defense, they're talking things over, and the Woodland Hills offense did the same.
This is the kind of situation where you keep an eye on number 5, Dallas Harper. Came up with a big interception late in last week's contest. He has a takeaway tonight. He does a good job roaming the field, watching the quarterback's eyes. I would not be surprised if he, back at that safety position, is able to come down with one more tonight here on this 3rd and 8.
Trips left, 1 receiver right. Walter, shotgun, looks left, throws left. The pass deflected, and interception by Livesey. Livesey off of the deflection inside of the 30, the 25, the 20, still on his feet to the 10, to the 5, to the goal line, touchdown Gateway.
Did I say Dallas Harper? I meant Chris Livesey.
Right.
Hey, the tip drill. It's important. I mean, we're here in Pittsburgh. We all saw a backyard brawl last night. The difference maker, a WPIAL product from Aliquippa. Devonshire taking it coast to coast. And here tonight, it's Livesey for the Gateway Gators. Playing the tip perfectly. And a good job. Gators immediately getting hats on helmets quickly. Look at Brooks down the field. Quarterback falls down on his own, but getting out in front there, ensuring that his guy has a clear path to the end zone.
And we've seen Livesey with the ability to run with the ball in his hands. You know, he had it with the kick returns in week 0 last week, the pick 6 there. There's a flag down on the far sideline. So we're going to have to see what the referee has to say here.
The result of the play is a touchdown. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, scoring team number 42. That 15-yard penalty will be taken on the kickoff. That's number 42's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul.
42. Victor Morris, the junior. Not sure he was on the field. It may have been Chris Livesey on the pick 6, who was the unsportsmanlike conduct recipient there. And the kick is up and in for Plaskin out of the hold of Livesey. Livesey does a little bit of everything. Returns, kicks, and punts. Holds on the field goal team and catches interceptions at the midfield stripe and takes it back for touchdowns.
And he's someone, you know, a lot of these guys, we heard these names last year. We saw these guys make plays last year. Livesey's a bit of an unproven commodity for the Gators, who has popped up here and been a difference maker in the first 2 weeks of the season. In the return game on defense, has caught the ball on offense as well from the receiver position. And he has really found himself a major role on this team.
Kind of stole my thunder earlier with the tip and the pick 6. MJ Devonshire last night, 2 interceptions for the Pitt Panthers, including the one that he returned for a touchdown. The transfer to the University of Pittsburgh from Kentucky after he graduated from Aliquippa a couple of seasons ago.
It's one thing to see the local D1 football team after a banner season win a big-time rivalry that we hadn't seen in over a decade, but it's a little extra sweet for anyone who's a high school football fan in this area to see a local kid be the difference maker. That was really cool to see.
also amazing just to look at these two sidelines and think about the players that have played in that game on the far side and the near side. Morty Ivy and Maurice Washington on the near side, far sideline. So many players that played at Pitt, and Chris Edmonds who played at WVU. Isaiah Greer with the kick return to that far sideline. Finally steps to the boundary near the 35-yard line as a late flag comes in from a mile away.
I saw some hands go up from the Wolverines. Looks like could be against them, which would negate a really great return here. And this game seems like it's pretty well sorted out at this point, but Wolverines look like they were going to have their best starting field position and a chance to get some points on the board.
38.
Jordan the return, holding. Number 4, receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Penalty on the return for holding against Woodland Hills.
And that's going to negate a good chunk of a nice return by Isaiah Greer. But Woodland Hills will still have the ball inside of Gators territory at the 47-yard line.
Noah Hutcherson, the guilty party.
Cameron Walter, the freshman quarterback, came in here in the second half and has QB'd the visitors throughout the third and fourth quarters. As the pass to the near sideline is incomplete, intended receiver Amir Brown. I really can't be more impressed with Cameron Walter, the freshman. His first varsity experience, and he's got some tools, that's for sure.
He does. He does. He's not benefited from these rollouts. They haven't been able to contain Matthew Brooks or Remy Bowes, and his receivers get too far down the field for him to be able to contort his body to get the ball downfield. But he's shown you flashes for sure throughout this second half that give you some hope moving forward for the Wolverines.
And he has ability not just below the neck, but from the neck up as well. That throw down that far sideline will be incomplete, as Walter was looking for Devon McClinton, the 5'11 senior.
McClinton coming up with a little bit of a limp. Maybe some cramping for him. Would be the first Wolverine we've seen with any of those issues as he heads over to the sideline. Boy, it was a little messy there along the way, but Gators look like they're going to escape this one. Find their way to 2-0 on the young season.
And the pass is complete to Jones as Walter gets hit, releasing the football. I think Gateway may be guilty of a roughing the passers. Victor Morris is going to be called for the roughing the passer in all likelihood. And I think maybe Victor Morris was the guilty party a little while ago. Listed as a defensive back, but looking at that frame, he looks more like a linebacker, as there is that roughing the passer, as we mentioned.
Yeah, tough few minutes for Morris, racking up 30 yards of penalty yards. He's gonna wince a little bit watching film tomorrow, but at least the Gator faithful and the Gators overall can sigh a little bit here with 1:18 left. You just want to hope to get out of here without anyone getting injured. 2-0 and a healthy club thus far. No matter how you get there, you can't ask for anything more.
Walter looking left, throwing left, comeback route. They'll say the receiver over there on that far boundary catches it before stepping out of bounds. That's Isaiah Greer. Now check that. That's 24, not 14. So William Smith, the freshman, with the reception.
It's brings up a good point for these Wolverines. Some of these guys that we're talking about, they're young. This is a young team. They've competed well tonight. So it's a team to keep an eye on even past this season as they hopefully develop some of these young men into real difference makers.
Jones, the tailback, he's a junior. Nesby, a sophomore, saw action at tailback as well as that pass is broken up. And you talked earlier about Dallas Harper and his ability to break on the ball. Couldn't come up with that one as he broke towards it.
Yeah, and a bit of a violent collision there. Harper stayed down for a beat or two. Luckily, he got up looking like he was fine, but you always hold your breath a little bit. Some of those inadvertent hits. You get hit kind of awkwardly. You never know what's going to happen. But luckily, everyone got up and is fine.
Dallas Harper with a Woody High connection. His older brother Khalil played for Woodland Hills a number of seasons ago, and now he's a Gateway Gator making an impact in his junior and senior years. Freshman to freshman combination as Walter finds William Smith, and then William Smith gets dumped down to the turf by Jordan Tyree, the linebacker.
Yeah, Tyree, someone who logged some minutes last year. We haven't called his name too many times this season, but just shows some of that depth defensively the Gators have. Guys they can call on late in games, can be sure tacklers.
45 seconds to play. Walter steps up into the pocket, has a receiver open in the end zone, and the pass just a little too strong for the intended receiver, Adam Ghanem.
You hate to miss on those ones, and Brooks and Bowes disrupting that at the last minute, forcing Wells to just get rid of that one a tick sooner than he probably wanted to, and that just threw it off just a little bit, just a little too much on it. I have to think this freshman, that's a throw he's not going to miss in the future.
Second down and 10 as the clock is stopped with 37 seconds to play. Walter rolling left, throwing left, pass complete to that left-hand side. Sliding to the boundary is Makai Palmer, but they say Palmer's knees are down in the field of play as a timeout is taken by Tim Bossert and the Woodland Hills Wolverines.
Playing for pride at this point. Nobody likes getting shut out. You want to get a few points on the board, and it's a situational, especially in a non-conference game, right? It's an opportunity to run some of those late game situations. Who knows? Maybe late in the season, you've got a 7-6 game where you've got to go down and get yourself a touchdown late. You get some of those reps here. It's sort of a dress rehearsal for jumping into conference play, and certainly as well as this Woodland Hills team has played tonight, you have those playoff ambitions. So these are all good precursors to some of those stressful moments where you've got to really execute at a high level.
Watch out, Northeast Conference. The Woodland Hills Wolverines are for real. Regardless of whether they walk away 21-0 with the loss today or get a score here, they have got some good football players.
Yeah, need to work out the kinks on offense. There's not enough there just yet, but that defense, they made life difficult for Gateway for three-plus quarters.
And Walter may be the answer of working those kinks out offensively if he gets more and more first-team reps. Walter rolling right, throwback, and the pass is incomplete. It was in the breadbasket of a Wolverine at the goal line, but that Wolverine, Devon McClinton, couldn't pull it in.
Yeah, good job there, pulling his eyes back across the field, scanning all of his options, going through his reads. His receivers have not done him a lot of favors tonight. So that's a group that's going to have to continue to grow as well. Certainly 13 has made a few mistakes. He pushed the ball downfield into double coverage and got himself picked off, but he also has not had the most help in the world. A couple drops along the way, a couple miscommunications, guys running the wrong routes. Those are things you're going to have to clean up as well.
Well, that interception, for all intents and purposes, was a punt, especially at the high school level, a 40-yard pass that leads to a turnover at midfield as Walter's pass is incomplete. And that'll be a turnover on downs. It'll be 1st and 10 for Gateway as they will just take a knee and finish this one out. But getting back to that interception, not only did he throw the interception that was basically a punt, but a couple of plays later, the Gators gave it right back on an interception themselves.
Sure did. Yeah, and you continue to see that. There's some moments where you see why Birch is getting the attention for the next level that he is, and every so often you still see some of those mistakes or some of those things that you don't expect to see out of a guy as highly touted as him. But he's done enough to get these guys to 2-0. Gators will be looking at another test next week, although North Hills got rolled tonight by Upper St. Clair, a team that looks like they've brought a lot back and are a club to keep an eye on in 5A.
As the snap into the hands of Birch, and Birch takes a knee, and that will be the final play of this evening's football game. With a 21-0 victory, Gateway improves to 2-0 on the year, while Woodland Hills falls to 1-1.
And Woodland Hills, nothing.
I always love to see them hang on for the shutout.
2 touchdowns in the
Defense
second
certainly
half.
deserved it with how well they played tonight. That's a very well-deserved shutout for the amount of time they spent on the field, the amount of plays they were asked to make tonight against a very athletic Woodland Hills Wolverines team. I mean, the defense won this game for Gateway by just giving them the amount of time they needed to be able to get that offense into motion late in the game.
Vince, one thing that can't be overstated is the fact that Birch continues to show the ability to not only throw the ball, which is obviously his bread and butter, but he's running more and more. 2 rushing touchdowns today, plus another big play to compound that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he looks much more comfortable putting his head down and fighting for yardage, and a lot shiftier as well. Looks like he's expanded that repertoire of his game and just makes him all that much more difficult to game plan against. And, you know, he was the difference maker on offense today. They weren't able to get the vertical passing game going. Reynolds was able to get some creases at the beginning and the end of the game, but by and large, Birch, when things came down to it, he put the team on his back and was able to execute. Got into the end zone twice.
How about the guys in the trenches for the Gateway Gators? So many of them go both ways, and they had big guys to deal with the Woodland Hills Wolverines on both offense and defense, but they got it done.
Yeah, they have deserved a well-earned rest tonight. I mean, those guys worked hard. They disrupted the passing game for Woodland Hills, and they nullified the running game. I mean, they completely took the running game away for Woodland Hills, which was a strength for them last week. Backup running back goes for $127 and 3 rushing touchdowns. I don't know that they picked up maybe more than 1 or 2 first downs on the ground tonight. They had to go full aerial assault, and it just didn't work out for them. They became one-dimensional, and then guys like Matthew Brooks, Remy Bowes, they get to pin their ears back, go after the quarterback, and they made life very tough for Wells. Even though he had some bright moments, he still was running for his life on most plays.
Next week, the Gateway Gators hit the road, and they play in one of the great stadiums in the WPIAL, Martirelli Stadium, the home of the North Hills Indians. And it'll be a decent test for Gateway as they remain out of conference.
Yeah, by and large, this whole season. I mean, there's, Franklin Regional the week after, which is a team that the Gators have traditionally played very well against in recent memory. But I look up and down the schedule, and there's a lot of unfamiliarity. There's a lot of teams that are coming down from 6A, and so they're going to have their hands full throughout the season. I mean, we're going to learn a lot about this team throughout this 10-game slate. And then you've got right in that middle there that matchup against Penn Trafford. But all starts next week against North Hills. You got to take it 1 week at a time and keep your eyes on a team that got beat pretty badly tonight. They're going to be looking to try and rebound. And when you're Gateway, when you're that team that's number 1, you're the team getting hunted. You're the team that has got that bullseye on its back, and the Gators are going to get team's best shot every single week.
Next week, it will be Bob Orquist and Michael Garr on the call for you here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network, and then Vincent Spencer Witt will have the call 2 weeks from tonight from Franklin Regional. Well, that'll do it for our coverage this evening here in Monroeville, Pennsylvania, as the Gateway Gators defeat the Woodland Hills Wolverines 21-0. Gateway improves to 2-0. Woodland Hills falls to 1-1. From my broadcast partner, Vince Russo, and our entire crew, I'm Adam Gusky, thanking you for joining us here on NFHS and the Trib Live High School Sports Network.